Welcome to the AJ Bell Stadium here in Eccles, home of Sale Sharks and also home of the Eccles Cake and the first fire engine to be employed by a local council. Einstein once said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Well, they've asked me back again to host today's Sale Sharks Live. Well, you don't need a genius to tell you exactly what's happening today. A very important game, Exeter Chiefs v Sale Sharks here at the AJ Bell Stadium. Both teams coming off the back of some loss last week. So, again, the genius isn't me. The genius is Ollie Lathrope and Chris Malaband. They're at the AJ Bell Stadium. Chris, guys, you there?
Good evening, Colin.
We're here, Colin.
Look at that, fantastic. I'm unfortunately, I'm a little bit injured. I've got my support here. We're going to talk about all the support played in today's programme, and we're looking forward to it. I am actually gutted, guys. I'm not there with you.
It's a shame not to have you with us, Colin. It's very strange, but I can tell you one thing. It's a heck of a lot warmer than when we were here for Bath a few weeks ago. I think it took me about 3 days to thaw out after that one. So it's a warm and balmy night-ish.
Ollie, tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to today against the Chiefs. What's your thoughts on today's game?
Well, the defending champions are here, Colin, aren't they? The Premiership winners from last year, the European Champions Cup winners from last year, a very good side, but off the back of a defeat last week. So they, like Sale, be keen to get back to winning ways. So I'm expecting a good game.
And you, Chris, what are you expecting to see the most today? What's your big standout part of today's game, do you think?
Well, clearly Alex Sanderson has said in his press conference this week, Colin, that he's probably rotated too much in the last 2 weeks. He's been looking to get players game time. And of course, as a new director of rugby, he's wanted to see what he's inherited coming into the club here. But what he's done tonight is named a team that's very, very similar to the one who had that fantastic win down at Bristol a few weeks ago. In fact, 13 of the 15 who started that night at Ashton Gate start tonight. The two who didn't, Lou Diaga and Dan Dupria, further strengthen the side. So I think Sanderson has clearly thought to himself, I've got to go back to my best team tonight. Exeter, double winners last year, of course, European champions. They're without the likes of Stuart Hogg and Johnny Hill in the Six Nations, of course, but they've still got an extremely strong side. Sam Simmons, Joe Sims, Jack Maunder, Ollie Devoto, quality players, and a team who've got used to winning over the last 4 or 5 years, really, in the Premiership. So it's going to be a really tough test, some intriguing matchups across the pitch, and I think it's going to be a really tight one tonight.
So listen, if you're at home, you've heard our thoughts and our opinions, and you're going to hear much of those as well throughout the course of the pre-match. But we want to hear what your opinions are, and we also want to know your score predictions. So if you're at home right now, like I am, in the lovely warm of your house with your beer and with your wine, let us know what you think the score is going to be. And particularly if you've got any questions for anybody within the Sale Sharks, let us know, and we'll try and get those questions answered. A little bit later on, we're going to be joined by Ben Curry, who's going to be co-commentating alongside the lads today as well. So we're going to get some really, really good insight. So make sure that you turn the volume down on BT Sport and turn the volume up on the lads today, because you'll be getting some really clever and key insights from the guys today. So comments below, you know the score where they normally are. We'd like to hear from you. Any shout-outs, birthdays, any celebrations. If you're desperate to get in and play rugby yourself, if you're a grassroots club, we'd love to hear from you today. Particularly as well if you're an Exeter fan. We want to hear, and we're quite keen to find out who cheers the loudest. Is it Exeter fans or is it our Sale Sharks fan base as well? So anything there you have, get them in the comments below and use the hashtag SharksLive or SalVEXE. And we'll get those shout-outs during the show. Ollie, we're going to take a look at the matchups in a little bit, but let's just take a quick look at this 9-10 again, starting for Sale Sharks today.
Well, Faf de Klerk and AJ McGinty come back for Sale, Colin. They didn't play last week. Rob Dupria and Will Cliff were the starters, but this is Alex Sanderson's first choice half-back pairing. They played against Bristol. They played well against Bristol, and he's backed them again tonight. But on for the Exeter perspective, you've got Joe Simmons and Jack Maunder, two experienced Premiership players. So that could be where the game is won and lost tonight.
So we're just looking there, Chris, at the teams warming up, and especially the team Sale Sharks coming together as a squad. Now, I got in trouble last week after the loss last week when I said I wasn't really interested in the scoreline. I was much more interested in how we're progressing as a squad. Are we developing? Are we making our tackles when we should? Are we improving our tackle count? Are we improving our reload speeds back to our feet in defence? Are we doing that? And, I'm really fascinated to see how this team is shaping. A lot of our fans are saying the same thing. They should have been ready by now. We've had enough time to develop. We should be developed. But when we look at bringing in a new DOR, things take time. Chris, what do you think? Are we taking too much time, or are we ready to go? Is the matchup today a really good test for Sale Sharks today?
Well, it certainly is a good test, Colin, and after those 2 defeats, Alex Sanderson has seen the full spectrum of life as a director of rugby, because he's come in, won his first 2 games, immediate momentum, and then that momentum immediately taken away from him with back-to-back losses. He's gone back to the tried and tested formula, as we've said. It's the exact same back division who won at Bristol. It's the same front row as well. So in his early weeks, he's still going to be finding out about players and thinking about the style he wants to put on the team, how he wants the team to play. But he's inherited a squad. He hasn't had the chance to develop that squad yet. We've seen, of course, Tommy Taylor's announcement this week. He'll be coming in as another hooker at the end of the season. But otherwise, it's very much the squad that Steve Diamond built. And I think, to your point on statistics, I'm sure Alex Sanderson and Hugh Jenner and the rest of the backup team here at Sale will be looking at those stats and using them in combination with what they see on the field of play. Some coaches will look very, very intrinsically at statistics and make big announcements and big decisions off the back of that. Others use them in tandem with a feel for the game and a perception on what is needed to win each week, depending on who you're up against. And what Alex Sanderson's combination of that is, only he will know. But he'll be learning a lot about this squad week on week. But it's probably going to take him till the end of the season, really, to have any real feel to say, who do I want to keep at this club on a longer term basis? Who do I want to build this team around? And what's the style and the pattern of play that we really want to call ours here at Sale? And that's going to take time. And he said that in his early press conference. It can sometimes take 2 years, 5 years to real build an identity around a club. If you look at Rob Baxter tonight at Exeter, it wasn't that long ago that Exeter were playing in the Championship. They got up into the Premiership and people thought, well, they might last a season, be a bit like Rotherham or Worcester, those kind of sides. And look what's happened since. Consistency, a clear player pathway and support, and having a back office team around Rob Baxter that have made this club arguably Europe's most successful team. And I think Alex Sanderson will be realistic. Whatever he can achieve between now and the end of the season is just the start of the journey, really.
So this is the point, development is key, and we're really lucky at Sale Sharks to be developing as a club all the time, not just those 15 lads playing within that 80-minute period. You've got a squad, you've got a backroom staff, you've got the academy, you've got the junior sections, you've got the community sections, and you've also got Sale Sharks Women's. And we've seen, and we're really lucky at Badger and Coombs to be filming all the women's games as well. We absolutely love it. And what we've seen develop over the course of the season so far for the women is the team getting better and better, working really hard. And we discussed a little bit earlier, hadn't we, Chris, about Quins, the game down at Quins, and then the game last week at DMP Sharks. And we've got a little bit of a highlights package for you, and then we're going to introduce Beth Stafford, the captain.
DMP Durham Sharks welcomed Sale Sharks as the bottom 2 sides met at Durham University. Sale arrived in the North East searching for their first win in 2021, and it was the visitors who struck first. After a series of strong carries from the Sale pack, Katie Houghton powered over the line for her first try in Sale colours. The opening try seemed to settle the nerves of the visitors, and it wasn't long before Sale would cross the line again. After more good work from Sale forwards, the ball was worked to Laura Perrin, who burst through the home side's defence to score her second try of the season. DMP Durham Sharks looked for a route back into the game. However, it was the visitors that extended their lead just before half-time when captain Beth Stafford forced herself over the line from short range to take the score to 21-0. The visitors flew out of the traps in the second half as they looked to secure the bonus point. After some good pick-and-go pressing from the Sale forwards, prop Aisha Abu Marzouk bulldozed herself over the line to take the score to 28-0. Sale head coach Darren Lehman made a number of changes during the second half, but the points kept on flowing for the visitors. This time it was Georgie Perez-Redding who crashed over the line for her first try for Sale. The visitors extended their lead 5 minutes later after good breaks from debutants Jodie Ownsley and Holly Borden. Sale scrum half Jessica Roberts crossed over the line after an excellent show and go for the away side's 6th try of the afternoon. The visitors wrapped up the point scoring with 5 minutes to go when Borden stormed past the DMP Durham defence to race over the line and mark her debut with a try. Sale Sharks record their first ever away win in the Allianz Premier 15s as DMP Durham Sharks keep searching for their first points of the season.
And lo and behold, there she is, short-range Stafford, as we'll call her now after that try last week. Beth, thank you and welcome to Sale Sharks Live. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Brilliant. So we talked a little bit there before, just in the run to that, the development and the growth of the women's game, as particularly Sale Sharks women. We're really proud to be filming you. That game last week, Beth, tell us a little bit about it from the skipper's point of view.
Yeah, it was just fast to be a part of, really. We went there, we set up our intentions, and we were really clear with what we wanted to achieve. And it took us maybe 10 minutes or so to get into the game, but we really kind of settled into it and started to find our pace, which is
what seemed to be really good there, a lot of names on the score sheet as well. There seemed to lose a lot of people within the team there. That must have been really good to see.
Yeah, I think a lot of forwards quite keen to get on the score sheet this time because a lot of our tries were through our backs. So I think there was a little bit of competition. We did not go for the backs at all.
So we were talking. I mean, like I said, before I was getting into trouble about kind of ignoring score lines and looking at development and stuff. And for you, as the captain, where do you think are your big improvements as a side? And personally, what's your development been like over the course of the season so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great, really. Like you say, score line's great, and it's tell the whole story. We've been going into each game, setting out targets for ourselves, what we want to achieve, and coming away with little wins for us, if that makes sense. Whether it be our defensive organisation or whether we want to string together some attacking phases. So that's really good to see, particularly after Christmas. We've really been kind of putting our foot to the pedal. Personally, yeah, I get so much support from the coaches, and that's been really good. So
Chris and Ollie not only commentate on the men's game, but they also commentate on your games too. So I'm going to bring Chris in. And Chris, have you got any questions for Beth in regards to, you've seen these games, you've commentated on them all the time. Is there anything that strikes out for you, Chris?
Yeah, Beth, I'd be interested on your thoughts on how the team are approaching the Harlequins match mentally tomorrow, because clearly, as we saw in the highlights, fantastic win up at Durham. Great to see 7 tries. But Harlequins will be such a step up tomorrow, looking at the quality of their side and how they've done in the season so far. What have been some of the messages in training this week to get ready for this one tomorrow?
I think one of the key things for me is we're not the same team that faced them about 12 weeks ago now. We've changed massively. That was a huge defensive shift from us, and that's a big part of the identity that we want to build. But like I say, we're getting really good in attack, some real glimmers of greatness from us there. So that's what we're looking to bring tomorrow.
Of course, we've got the Women's Six Nations looming up in a few weeks' time. Beth, for people who are not so close to the women's game, it's been delayed from now until April. It's going to be played almost in an Autumn Nations Cup style. And it's great to have some Sale representatives playing in the Six Nations. We've got 4 in the Wales squad who've been away, I know, down to Cardiff every Monday for training. And of course, Lauren Delaney is unavailable tomorrow because she's with Ireland. What sort of a lift does it give the rest of the squad to see some of the girls getting that international recognition?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they're doing us all so proud, and especially newbies in the Welsh squad. Jess and Tell's getting back in there. It's fab, and they go off to the camps and things, and they bring back what they know, and it's great to have insights from different nations as well.
Well, Beth, thanks so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Of course, we'll be on air with Sharks Live from 2 o'clock. And of course, we have the opportunity to show you the full match with the pictures as well as the audio. And Mari Grieve, the Sale Sharks injured scrum half, is going to be joining us on commentary as well. So if you've not watched the women before, make sure you join us on these channels at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And Beth, we look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Beth. Thanks, Chris. Just a couple of shout-outs are coming through now. So we've got Dylan from South Africa. He says, "Go Sharks." That's great stuff. We've got Miss Trellis on Twitter saying 10:34. That's in favour of Exeter, I think, or has he got it the wrong way around? We will wait and find out. Rhymus Quayle, Sale 7, Exeter 21. Interesting. David Bradshaw, 1823. We are full of the joys of spring. That's a great shout. Rugby Ruby on Twitter wishing AJ a happy birthday. Premiership Rugby Ruby, sorry, my eyes. I've got my glasses on, but I can't read properly. Mikey on Twitter, bring it on, Chiefs. Sharks are going to eat you. I like that. That's quality. Jim on Twitter, all the best, you Chiefs, for your game tonight against the Sharks. Thank you. That's obviously another Chiefs fan. Trevor Bailey, 23-20 to Sale. That's a close one. And we'll look at the statistics a little bit later on, and we'll chat about how close that could actually be, Trevor. James Booth, hello from the cadets at the staff at the 318 Sale Squadron, who would normally be carrying the flag out on the pitch tonight. They're obviously desperate to do that. Some close score predictions there, Chris. Do you think the stats shape up and make that a reality, do you think?
Yeah, I think Trevor Bailey's prediction is probably not too far off, and Ollie and I were saying something similar before we came on air. Something in the low 20s each way might be a decent shout tonight. I think both sides are going to square up pretty closely to each other. Sale probably in recent weeks would want to have had more of an attacking threat than we've actually seen. A lot of Sale's points have been scored from the boot of AJ McGinty, a little bit from Rob Dupree. So it'll be interesting tonight, Colin, to see if Alex Sanderson and the rest of the coaching side have managed to open up a few more avenues in attack and see whether Sale can cut through that Exeter defensive line a little bit. But no, I think I'd certainly go with everyone who's predicting a close one tonight.
So, Ollie, I've managed to do a little bit of research, obviously because I'm not there. I've had a bit of time to do a little bit looking around, and I'm looking at some of the statistics that we have for Sale v Exeter, and the tackle success of Sale 88%, Exeter 89%. Line-out success for Sale, 89.9. We might as well call it 90% success rate. The line-out for Exeter, 85.4. Are we thinking that the set piece might be crucial today?
Oh, well, I think the set piece will be crucial, Colin. Sale's line-out has been much improved this season. Curtis Langdon's coming to the side for Aka van der Merwe, who's injured, and that line-out success rate has certainly gone up. But the issue has been the scrum. Sale's scrummage hasn't been particularly good this season. Even in that win down at Bristol a few weeks ago, it was a struggle. But Alex Sanderson's reverted back to that first choice front row tonight. Bevan Rod and Will Griff-John the props. So it should be a slightly improved area for Sale, but Exeter are strong in that area as well. Harry Williams, England prop. Jack Yendall is obviously been around Exeter for a long time. So it's going to be a tough night for Sale.
So you're absolutely. So let's look at that front row a little bit more. Let's look at that scrum success. Sale a little bit more of a success with the scrum than Exeter, according to the statistics, only by a couple of percent. But it's those small percents that makes the margin. Chris, let's take a look at the matchups 1 to 5, if you will.
Yeah, sure. So Alec Hepburn will play loose head for Exeter Chiefs tonight up against Will Griff-John. Will Griff has always been known probably as the best tight-heading scrummager that Sale have got here. So that's an important matchup. And then across on the other side of the scrum, as Ollie was saying, it's Harry Williams up against Bevan Rod, young prop who's come into the side and has certainly forced his way past Ross Harrison as being the first choice loose head for Sale, and Valerie Morozov also behind him in that queue as well. So some decent squaring up at the front there. In the second row, you'd have to say Sale on paper had the advantage. Lou de Jaga's first start of the season tonight, alongside Josh Beaumont, who's been in excellent form since recovery from injury. And Exeter, without their two first-choice second rows, both Johnny Hill and Johnny Gray busy with the Six Nations. Sean Lonsdale has his first start of the season for Exeter in the engine room. So you'd say that Sale might have a bit of an advantage at lock and will need to try and take that in the line out. But look, we've seen it so many times, Colin. Let's look at the World Cup final if we need any more evidence. A scrum is a key factor in the winners of a rugby match every week. And so it's going to be really important tonight that Sale improve on how they got on at Bristol, because although they won that game, the scrum was a serious nemesis that night, and they got away with it because they were so good all round the park and particularly defensively. But tonight I know Alex Sanderson will be looking particularly closely and hoping to ensure his team at least have parity, if not are on top.
Ollie, and let's take a look at that defensive importance of the 6, the 7 and 8 and getting on their feet and getting out there quickly. How important is that much going to be?
Well, John O'Ross is one of the best defensive... It's one of the best...
Sorry to interrupt you, Ollie. Sorry to interrupt you there, Ollie, because we're going to go straight over to Josh now for the team sheet.
Let's have a look at tonight's teams. Starting with the away side, Exeter Chiefs, and the backs, number 15, Josh Hodge, number 14, Facundo Cordero, number 13, Ian Whitton, number 12, Ollie Devoto, number 11, Tom O'Flaherty, number 10, the captain, Joe Simmons, and number 9, Jack Maunder. And the forwards, number 1, Alec Hepburn, number 2, Jack Yandel, number 3, Harry Williams, number 4, Sean Lonsdale, number 5, Sam Skinner, number 6, Dave Ewers, number 7, Jacques Vermaelen, and number 8, Sam Simmons. And the substitutes for Exeter Chiefs tonight, number 16, Jack Innard, number 17, Ben Moon, number 18, Marcus Street, number 19, Don Armand, number 20, Richard Capstick, number 21, Stu Townsend, number 22, Harvey Skinner, and number 23, Tom Hendrickson. And for Sale Sharks this evening, and the backs, number 15, Luke James, number 14, Byron McGuigan, number 13, Sam James, number 12, Sam Hill, number 11, Marlon Yard, number 10, AJ McGinty, and number 9, Faf de Klerk. And the forwards for Sale Sharks tonight, number 1, Bevan Rodd, number 2, Curtis Langdon, number 3, Will Griff John, number 4, Josh Bowman, number 5, the return of Lou Diega, and number 6, the captain, John O'Ross, number 7, Cam Neild, and number 8, Dan Duprier. And the substitutes for Sale Sharks this evening, number 16, Ewan Ashman, number 17, Ross Harrison, number 18, Coney Eusthausen, number 19, Cobus Visa, number 20, Sam Dugdale, number 21, Rafi Quirk, number 22, Rob Duprier, and 23, Simon Hammersley. And tonight's referee is Carl Dixon.
I'd actually muted myself there because you don't want to hear the dog barking. So thank you, Josh, for that team sheet, that team news. Ollie, we were talking about the flankers and the number 8.
I can pick that one up, Colin, because Ollie's just getting set up with Ben Curry for commentary. But the back row battle is a really intriguing one tonight. Jack Vermeulen coming back in for Exeter, one of the best open sides in the Premiership. He's been out for a while. Cam Neild returns for Sale straight up against him. And it was probably something that was missing in Sale's last couple of performances, was having that jackler, that man just like Ben Curry, who's going to be with us tonight, to work at the breakdown. And Cam Neild will be given that responsibility. That gives John O'Ross, of course, the chance to return to his favoured position at blindside flanker, and Dan Duprier continues at number 8. But up against them, Sam Simmons, European Player of the Year for Exeter. No one can understand what Eddie Jones doesn't see in Sam Simmons. Even when he gets an injury like this week, it seems Sam Simmons is never going to get the phone call from the England coach. But he's one mighty player at Premiership level, the leading try scorer so far this season in the Prem, and certainly one of the best players. So a key battle in the back row and a key battle at half back, as we were discussing earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll fly through 9 and 10 because we've already mentioned that already. And let's look at the centre pairings now and the inclusion of that, and how important is that going to be as being able to get that solid ball from those platforms into those centres today.
Yeah, well, Alex Sanderson has experimented a lot in the 3 quarters in recent weeks. Of course, though, he hasn't got Rohan Janse van Rensburg, who's still out, Manitou Alangi's still out. And so what we're seeing tonight is probably Sale's first choice combination at the moment. Sam Hill, who's had a regular run of matches at inside centre, and Sam James, who's been also deployed at fullback this season, back into his favoured position at 13. So I think in the 3 quarters, that's probably Sale's strongest combination at the moment. Marlon Yard and Byron McGuigan then on the wings. For Exeter, Ollie Devoto and Ian Whitten, highly experienced in the centres for them, have been part of many of Exeter's successes in recent years. Tom O'Flaherty on the left wing, Facundo Coutinho on the right wing. So it's a decent backline for Exeter. No Henry Slade, of course, he's off with England, and no Ollie Woodburn. But look, Colin, this is an Exeter team that have got used to winning week in, week out. They got beaten last week in controversial circumstances right at the end when Joe Simmons' attempted conversion was kicked off the tee after Northampton sprinted out and it had been deemed that Simmons had started his run-up. They will be smarting from that, Exeter, and they've got a terrific record here. Sale have only beaten Exeter once in the last 10 meetings, and Sale have regularly come to the AJ Bell against Exeter and come unstuck. So it's a real tough ask for Sale tonight, but if they could win it, then that would mean that they've beaten both Exeter and Bristol, arguably the two strongest teams in the league, in the space of the last 5 weeks, both in the Sanderson era.
And listen, before we go into to look at the bench as well, let's just remind everybody that we want to hear your comments where you are at home today. Make sure you give us your score predictions as they unfold as well. Tell us a little bit about what you think we're doing right, what you think we're doing wrong, especially as you're listening in to Ollie, Chris and Ben as well. Any questions for the guys, make sure you get them in the comments. Make sure to hashtag SharksLive. And we will get those questions answered, and we'll also give you those shout outs. We will absolutely need to know where you're watching in the world today. We really want to know. We want to know how you're watching as well. Are you watching it online? Are you watching it on BT Sport? Listen, like I said before, don't be embarrassed to turn down the commentary on BT Sport and listen to our guys. Who would you rather have give you the right analysis? Ben Curry, somebody still playing? I think I would as well. Chris, the bench, how important is the bench going to be today, do you think?
Well, we know always it's a 23-man game, don't we? And both sides have got quality on the bench. Exeter, for example, have got internationals. Ben Moon, who's had a number of caps for England, is on the bench. Don Armand, who a few seasons ago was one of the very top back rowers in the country and had international caps as well, is still a great operator. They're both on the bench for the Chiefs. Stu Townsend's there, up-and-coming scrum half. And for Sale, of course, there are opportunities to bring on the likes of Rob Dupree, Simon Hammersley, who offers cover at full-back and wing, and Will Cliff, of course, who's always super dependable. So two strong benches. Ross Harrison as well in the forwards. Ewan Ashman, who we've seen have a start last week and already part of the Scottish squad. So despite the Six Nations, I think right across these two teams there's a lot of depth and a lot of quality there. And I think if it's going to be tight as we go into the final quarter, as many of us think it will be tonight, then the two benches are going to have a key part in who ultimately gets over the line and wins this one.
So listen, make sure you stick with us, everybody, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you are today. Make sure you tell your friends as well. Share the links. Make sure you share this. The more people that we can get engaging with today's show, the better. The more people we can start talking to about next week's game, the week after week after. We really want to hear from you on the social media channels. Today's sponsor is Huddle Capital. I'm no expert. They are. So make sure if you want to get any information on them, lots of information on the website to go to. And again, don't forget, tune in tomorrow as well, and make sure that you are listening to Chris and Ollie for the women's game over at Haywood Road. Chris, I think it's time to go to Ollie. Would you agree?
It is. And don't forget, tonight we've got a competition on Sharks Live. Ollie's going to ask you a question at half-time tonight. You've got to get the answer to that question, and then I'm going to ask you another one tomorrow at half-time in the women's game, and we're going to have one lucky winner who's going to win a signed Sale Sharks women's shirt. So make sure you listen tonight and tomorrow for that one. But as Colin says, it's time to go to commentary now. Ben Curry is our special guest tonight, alongside Ollie Lathrop.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Colin. And a very warm welcome to the AJ Bell Stadium for this evening's Gallagher Premiership Round 11 clash between Sale Sharks and Exeter Chiefs. It was announced earlier this week that fans can return to stadiums from May 17th, but for now, sit at home and enjoy the game with us, with myself, Chris, and Ben Curry, who's our special guest tonight. Tonight's match sees Sale go in search of a first Premiership win in 3 matches. Alex Sanderson shuffled his pack in defeats to both Harlequins and Bath, but he makes 11 changes for tonight's game against the defending Premiership champions, including a recall for Faf de Klerk and a first start since September for Lou Diaga. Exeter Chiefs could go top with a win tonight of their own and are boosted by the return of Jax Vermeulen, who has recovered from shoulder surgery. And we're about 2 minutes away from this game. Exeter Chiefs out on the pitch now, and I'm joined by Ben Curry. Ben, thanks for joining me tonight. What are you expecting from this match?
Yeah, like you said, 2 massive packs, and there's no better game to try and bounce back from 2 losses than playing the European champions. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I know the lads are looking forward to this. It's going to be an immense game.
And as you said, Exeter Chiefs, obviously the defending Premiership champions, the European champions. There's no better way to get back on the horse, such as you can get that win. There's no tougher test, but if you can get over the line tonight, it'd be a huge boost for Sale.
Yeah, definitely. We've got an immense team. We spoke about it just before 1 to 23. They've got international, so for us, it's about getting our stuff right and really going at them tonight. We've got a great opportunity to really turn them over. AJ Bell on a Friday night is pretty classic for Sale.
Absolutely, and we're about to get underway in this one. Carl Dixon, the man in the middle. Andrew Jackson, Jamie Leahy are the assistant referees, and the TMO is Ian Tempest. As me and Ben look out from the AJ Bell stand. Sale going from right to left in this first half. Faf de Klerk with the ball in his hand. He hands it to AJ McGinty, who will get us underway. Sale looking to get back to winning ways after 2 defeats in a row. Relatively mild night to here tonight in Salford. A lot warmer than 2 weeks ago when it was absolutely freezing for that Bath game.
How do you know when it's on?
And we're underway. AJ McGinty kicking off for Sale. Taken well by Jack Vermeulen. And Exeter inside their own 22 as we get underway here. Sam Skinner carries for the Chiefs. A good tackle from John O'Ross. Exeter inside their own 22, and it looks as if Jack Maunder will set up for the box kick. It's not gone particularly far. There's no one really under it, and it falls into the hands of Luke James, and Sale have their first possession of the night. The Sale fullback doing well there to break the initial tackle, and Faf de Klerk sends a box kick back the other way. Straight down the throat of Jack Maunder, and he calls the mark, and the Exeter scrum half will kick straight back to Faf de Klerk. A bit of kick tennis to get us underway here as Faf de Klerk kicks again. Is a high hanging kick, but not a great Sale chase, and a chance here for Josh Hodge to run this one back, and does a good job, does the Exeter fullback. Exeter enjoying the lion's share of possession so far in this one.
Yes.
A good tackle there from Wilgriff John. Exeter retain possession. Joe Simmons feeds it to Jack Vermeulen. Back from injury, the South African, his first start of the season tonight. Exeter still in possession, just shy of their own 10-metre line. It looks as if Jack Maunder will be very happy to clear his lines here. Try and give the Chiefs some early territory, but again, that kick's not a great one. AJ McGinty tries to go up with it, and it falls into Sale hands, and Faf de Klerk forced to dive on the ball, and there's a penalty to Sale. The Sharks with the first penalty of the night. And a chance here for AJ McGinty to clear up into the Exeter half. Ben.
Yeah, that's a great start from the boys. Rugby's very simple. You want to win the territory, you want to win the physical collisions, and yeah, that's a great start. They didn't make any meters, and we forced them to kick. So yeah, really great opportunity now from what was a good start to then put that into some points.
A first line out for Sale. Curtis Langdon back in the starting team tonight. Scored off the bench against Quins last week. And he goes to Lud de Jager, back from injury at Quins last week and making his first start tonight. And it's good work there from Exeter on the ball at that maul, but Sale have got the ball back. It's a relatively scrappy ball when Faf de Klerk forced to burrow for it, and Sale come down this short side of McGinty. Sale up into the Exeter 22. Slow ball again. Curtis Langdon acting his scrum half. Josh Beaumont drives in. De Klerk happy to keep it in the forwards for now, and John O'Ross gives a little pop pass to Dan Dupree, who gets over the gain line brilliantly. De Klerk looking for quick ball now, yard. McGinty tries a little step. Sale up into the Exeter 22. Again, it's slow ball though. And Sale forced to keep it in the forwards, and Dan Dupree carries in again. Sale with their first real attacking opportunity of the night. De Klerk out to McGuigan on that right-hand wing. but he's tackled well. 3.5 minutes into this one, Sale Sharks 0, Exeter 0. Sale in possession is Lou Diago, who tries to break through, but there's a good tackle from Jack Vermeulen, and the slow ball and is a penalty. And Faf de Klerk goes quickly, he goes towards the line, he gives a pass out to the right hand side, and Byron McGuigan scores the first try for Sale. Faf de Klerk so quick from that penalty, a looping pass out to the right hand side, and Byron McGuigan gives Sale the lead.
Yeah, great. Exactly what I said before. Rugby, at the end of the day, is about those physical collisions. Whether that's through dominating the contacts or those little tips we've just seen there, to just get over the gain line. It makes Exeter work that bit harder, and it allows Faf. Yeah, like I said, Ewers has to scramble to give away that penalty, and like I said, Faf's the unicorn in the team who identifies those opportunities.
And from a defensive perspective there, Ben, if you're the defender and someone like de Klerk takes it so quickly, you obviously can't tackle him because you're probably going to get a yellow card or Sale score. So what do you do there? What can you do?
Yeah, just try and, as soon as the referee puts his arm up, sprint back, try and get 10, and hopefully he makes a mistake. But with Faf, that doesn't happen too often in terms of those scenarios. So you're struggling there if you're Exeter.
First try of the night for Sale. 5 minutes into this one. AJ McGinty with a tough kick from that right-hand touchline. And very good off the tee this year. Already brought up 100 points this season in the Premiership, and can he add to that tonight? The American international looks up at the post, and after what happened last week about with Joe Simmons moving and then the charge down, I'm sure Fly Haas are on watch at the minute. Don't want to make any movement at all, just in case there's a charge down. But it's missed, and the Sale lead by 5-0. 5 minutes into this one. A real opportunity here tonight for the Sharks to get back to winning ways after a difficult couple of weeks, and Joe Simmons gets us back underway. The towering figure of Josh Beaumont takes that one, and Sale in possession just outside their own 22. Dan Duprier. Faf de Klerk goes searching for that ball at the bottom of the ruck. Looks like he's setting up for the box kick here, and de Klerk does so, and it's a relatively good kick from de Klerk. No one can gather it from an Exeter perspective, and it comes back on the Sale side. An opportunity here. Sale up to halfway. Will Griff-John. De Klerk to Curtis Langdon. Sale in possession, just shy of the halfway line. De Klerk again. McGinty clears this one away. Marlon Yard after this one. It's going to be a tough old take for Joe Simmons here, but he takes it well. A hint that he might have been tackled in the air by Marlon Yard, and referee Carl Dixon does award the advantage. Exeter can perhaps try something here with that advantage, and they look to go wide to the left-hand side. Simmons out to Whitton. Yendall. O'Flaherty out on that left-hand side. Exeter have gone backwards a little bit there. We're coming back for the penalty. Marlon Yard taking the man out in the air, and I suppose a little bit of frustration there, Ben, after getting that early try to concede the penalty and perhaps allow Exeter back into it.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but rugby's a contact sport, that kind of stuff happens. What's really pleasing though is Exeter have tried to play round us. They've gained no metres, and it would have been really interesting to see where they would have gone from there. So yeah, penalty's not ideal, but it's another great opportunity to implement our defence and really put pressure on Exeter's attack now.
When Exeter were here last year, they were quite effective at picking and going around the side of the ruck. They scored a couple of tries from not far out. What have you talked about this week about trying to counteract that? Yeah,
well, first of all, you don't want to give those penalties away. And at the end of the day, Exeter are renowned for their pick and going. So what you want to do is you don't want to let them into your 22, let alone your 5. So for us, it's not giving those penalties, but now not letting them into our 22 and we've got to be dominant now. We've got to really,
A good line out from Jack Yendall, and Exeter just outside the Sale 22, and Simmons gives the outside ball, and Cordero breaking through into the Sale 22. Cordero breaks all the way through. What a fantastic try from Fancudo Cordero. What a try from the Argentinian. Marlon Yard tried to stop him at the end there, but a brilliant response from Exeter, and Ben, a bit of disappointment there, but what a try.
Yeah, sorry, I just need to watch that again. It's not great. That's not great defence. That's not ideal.
It's a great step, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a good step. Good try from him, but kind of our worst enemy there. Set piece. You're set. You should know who you're on there. Yeah, well, fair play, well played to him, but yeah, we've got to do better than that.
Simple conversion for Joe Simmons. Next to take a 7-5 lead here at the AJ Bell. 9 minutes into this one. Sale going over early through that Byron McGuigan try. Exeter right back in it. Facundo Cordero, the brother of Santiago. Former Exeter player himself, of course, and a disappointment moment there for Sale. Not great defence in falling behind in this one, and we're back underway. Sam Skinner taking the ball from that kickoff. Exeter we're just looking to clear their lines here. Sale do well to disrupt that ruck a little bit, and John O'Ross gets a hand on the ball and disrupts Maunder's kick. And what a take from Faf de Klerk that was. He came under a lot of pressure from Cordero, and Sale should have this one back. But Carl Dixon's given a scrum to Exeter. It's a fantastic take from Faf de Klerk, Ben, but it is an Exeter scrum. 10 minutes into this one, what are the reflections from a Sale perspective?
Yeah, unfortunate there for us not to get the scrum, but at the end of the day, it's all about that next job. Exeter scored, but absolutely fantastic from the kick-off, putting pressure on the 9. It's all about how we can then affect the next play, and I think that was pretty positive from us. It's about putting pressure on Exeter and making them make the mistakes, which, yeah, I'd say that was almost a positive outcome for Sale.
First scrummage of the night. Sale scrum not been particularly strong so far this season. Alex Sanderson has gone back to that first choice front row that started in the win down at Bristol. Tough ask tonight though against Alec Hepburn, Jack Yendall and Harry Williams. A reset scrum. Seem to see a lot of them now in rugby union. Carl Dixon just trying to get everything sorted. He sinned in 2 props in the same game at the same time when Exeter played Bristol earlier in the season. You don't see that too often, Ben.
Yeah, he also hates the breakdown as well. Never gives me any penalties, so not his biggest fan.
We'll try again on this scrummage. Come down on this near side. Harry Williams and Bevan Rod. The 2 culprits there, and we'll try again at this scrum. Just a reminder, if you're just joining us, Sale trailing by 7 points to 5 here at the AJ Bell in the first of our Sharks Live doubleheader. We'll be at the Corpac Stadium tomorrow for the visit of Harlequins. Sale Sharks women go in search of their second win in a row, but for now we're here at the AJ Bell for this Gallagher Premiership match. And we'll try again at this scrum, but it's disrupted again, and a free kick to Exeter. Sale judged is pushing too quickly there, and Joe Simmons looks as if he'll be very happy just to pin this ball into the Sale half. A tester for Marlon Yard here. A high hanging kick in Yard's under it, does a good job and takes the ball well, and Sale in possession. Gives a lovely offload to Luke James, and he breaks through, and Lou Diaga breaks up into the Exeter half. A lovely offload from Luke James. Lou Diaga eventually pulled to the floor. De Klerk, little inside ball to Bevan Rod. Such a destructive carrier. De Klerk again, a long pass to Marlon Yard. He's got Jonah Ross outside, and for now Yard happy to keep in possession, and Sale just outside the Exeter 22. Nailed. A good passage of play here from the Sharks. McGinty gives it to Bevan Rod again. He's carried a couple of times in this possession. A good counter from Exeter, and a scrappy ball, and Curtis Langner's knocked that one on. A frustrating period of play there for Sale. Lou Diari did so well to break through, and we're just missing that final pass, and eventually scrappy at that breakdown, and Exeter turned that one over. And Ben, a slightly frustrating period there. Lou Diaga obviously doing so well to break through, and then not quite committed enough people to the breakdown.
Yeah, he's obviously got a bit quicker during his injury. Yeah, very frustrating, but great work from Lukey, and good support from Lou. I just thought, kind of like Faf's decision, yeah, he makes some good decisions, but could we have gone down? Could we have gone the same way? What opportunities were down there? But yeah, great. Another opportunity. We're in Exeter's half. It's another opportunity to put pressure on them. And yeah, it's kind of that next job that's happened now. So our next job now, get the ball back, put Exeter under pressure.
This time there's a penalty to Sale. Harry Williams adjudged to have gone down at that scrum, and an immediate opportunity for AJ McGinty to put Sale back ahead, and he is very happy to point at the sticks as the American and try and give Sale the lead. And
I never have a clue what happens there. Like, I don't know why. I still don't understand how it's a penalty. I'm happy, but I don't understand it.
I think sometimes it does feel a little bit as if referees can sometimes be guessing. I don't know. You'll know better than I will, but there it could have gone either way, and Sale have been given the penalty and a chance here.
I think from the front row's perspective, it's about focusing on themselves and kind of like, because the scrum is seen as a very 50-50 area, it's kind of like focus on yourself and do your best job, and whatever happens, because you can't really affect that outcome, really, it seems.
We'll watch McGinty try and knock over this penalty. Missed that touchline conversion from Byron McGuigan's try, but a chance here to put Sale back in front. 15 minutes into this one. Relatively straight for the American. You'd expect to get this. A quiet falls around the AJ Bell Stadium.
It was quiet before. It's been quiet for the last 15 minutes.
I just thought I forgot there were no fans there. That is a successful kick from AJ McGinty, and Sale are ahead 8 points to 7. Albion go to Chris for the first time tonight.
Like to play on proper grass. Gareth Robert and Steve Stones are also offering their support to Sale. And Mikey on Twitter says, what an excellent try by Byron McGuigan.
Thanks, Chris, and remember, get your messages in throughout the night, and Chris will give them a read out. We'll get you on the airwaves at some point this evening. And Exeter have turned this one over from the kickoff. Sale took the initial ball, but the turnover came with the ruck, and an immediate chance here for the visitors to try and get some points back on the board. Yendall out on that left-hand side. He gives the ball back inside to Ollie Devoto. Exeter in possession. Good tackle there from Dan Dupree. De Klerk doing excellently there to pressure Jack Maunder. He's adjudged to have knocked that one on, but De Klerk always offering pressure around the ruck, and slightly too eager there. I think he's just about onside, but obviously his arms come out. And it's just a knock on, but we are seeing more of those now, Ben. When you stick your arm out, they do give a penalty more often than not, sometimes, the refs.
Yeah, it's obviously Faf's got on the right side there, but it's a very risky play, and kind of like that's the risk reward you get from it.
Another scrum here, relatively equal at this facet of the game so far. Sale winning a penalty at the last scrummage. Exeter in an excellent attacking position in between the Sale 10 metre line and the Sale 22, but it looked initially if Sale had got a bit of a push on, but then it's gone to floor, and we'll have a reset scrum. It's been a real tussle on this side near us between Harry Williams and Bevan Rod. Neither man quite managing to get the upper hand as we speak, and we'll try again at that scrummage. 18 minutes into this one as Alex Sanderson looks on our screen. What do you think, Alex, I think of the game so far from a Sale perspective, Ben?
Probably be disappointed with allowing them near our 22, but apart from that, we've been dominant, we've been physical, we've mainly controlled the territory. To be honest, I think this is the second time Exeter have been in our half, to be honest, so I think on the whole really positive. Just that one lapse, and like a team like Exeter, you give them one sniff and they get 7 points, so yeah.
That scrum's come down again. Carl Dixon gives Exeter the advantage this time, and the Chiefs will try a bit of a creative play. Little chip over the top, and we'll come back for the penalty, and an immediate opportunity for Exeter to try and go back in front. Looks like Bevan Rod was driving in the wrong way there, and Joe Simmons is going to kick this one into the corner, it looks like. Be a relatively simple kick if he had chosen to go for the post, but Exeter obviously so good from the line out. Jack Yendall scoring last week, so A chance here for the visitors to try and go back in front. Quite a cagey affair so far, not much side given much. 19 minutes into the match. It's a clean line out for the visitors, and they set up the drive in more. So good at this. And Sale would have to do well here to repel this. But it's a good initial drive from Sale. They're pushing Exeter towards the touchline, and Maunder has to try and get that ball out, but he's caught well by Jono Ross. And Sale have really disrupted that more, and Exeter forced to try something else. And for now, they'll try the pick and go. Exeter about 10 metres out from the Sale line, looking to try and get back in front in this one. Vermeulen driving in that time. Harry Williams, the next man to try for Exeter, and there's a little gap for Jack Maunder, but Faf de Klerk does excellently to tackle. He's always so alert around the fringes, and Maunder tried a little show and go there at one stage, but Faf de Klerk was there. And Exeter go back to their forwards. 20 minutes into this one, Sale Sharks 8, Exeter 7. They try the short side this time. Dave Ewers driving in. Relatively slow ball for Exeter, and Jono Ross gets off the line quickly there, along with Cam Neild, and Neil tries to disrupt and turn the ball over. Exeter have gone backwards from that initial drive they had from the line out, but they're still inside the Sale 22. Simmons tries a little pop past O'Flaherty, and he almost makes it through. Tackled well by Brian McGuigan. Williams. Dan Dupree quick off the line. Maunder trying to get that ball out, but there's Cam Neild over the ball, and he might have turned this one over. He was the only one there. A brilliant turnover from Cam Neild. At one stage there, it looked as if Exeter had a real opportunity to score, but Neild turns that one over. Ben Curry will know all about that, getting over the ball at the breakdown. And
I'm not quite sure what Curtis was doing there. I don't know why he didn't just pick the ball up.
But it was available, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just...
Everyone just sort of seemed to look at it.
That was good, no, really good from Cam to identify that after Curtis tried to boot it for about 15 attempts. Really
Faf de Klerk clears that one away into touch, and I'm sure you'd have been very proud of that one, Ben, getting over the ball like that, like Cam Neild did.
Well, I think that's a result of the previous 10-15 phases we defended. I think Exeter started near the 5 and that was near the 22, so yeah, it's all about just wearing them down, just keep putting those physical collisions in, and eventually they lose numbers at the ruck and those opportunities come.
Exeter with the line out, no drive this time, and happy to use the backs. Just up over the Sale 10 metre line. Again, a slightly scrappy ball and a diving pass, and Simmons gives it on the right hand side to Cordero, gives a little dummy and manages to beat the initial man. Exeter still in possession. Yendall. And what a hit from Dan Dupree. The ball's come out. I don't think it's been knocked on. Carl Dixon doesn't think so anyway. Exeter still in possession, and it's Curtis Langdon who's been penalised for going off his feet. A big initial hit from Dan Dupree. Looked as if it might have forced a knock on. But Exeter kept the ball and eventually win the penalty. Curtis Langdon penalised at the ruck, and I suppose, Ben, that shows the risk reward element of going for it there. Cam Neild turned the ball over, but Curtis Langdon gives away the penalty.
Yeah, like you say, it is all about risk reward. I kind of agree on Carl with that one. He's probably off his feet there. Needs to be better than that, and they're the opportunities you don't want to give Exeter. Like I said, back in their 5 we had a couple of good sets and one error, and now we're back on our 5, so yeah, you've got to be pretty relentless in terms of your discipline when you play Exeter to keep them out.
A line out here for Exeter, about 6 metres out from the Sale line. A real opportunity for them to try and drive this one over. They go to the front with Sam Simmons, and it's a good initial drive from the Chiefs. They're driving towards the Sale line. They seem to have turned that one around, and they're going towards the Sale line. It'd be tough for the Sharks to stop this one here, and they're over. We can't quite see who it is for now who's coming up with the ball, but Exeter Chiefs have gone back in front. It's Lonsdale coming up with it, and not much Sale could do there. Effective driving more. Exeter so good at those from 5 metres out, and the Chiefs are back in front. And Ben, was there anything really Sale could have done differently there? Exeter so good at driving the more from that distance out. They did it so well last year.
Without going into detail, well, yeah, I can't see the real details. We'll do that tomorrow morning, but it's kind of like we spoke about the game. You can't let Exeter into your 22. It all started from that breakdown. Unfortunately, Curtis got it a bit wrong. And you give Exeter, I keep repeating, you give Exeter the opportunity in your 5, and they've literally just proven me right twice. So, yeah, that's on us. And to be fair, that's kind of the positive they'll be talking about under the post now, is we've given them everything they've got. It's not exactly like they've had to work very hard for it. So if we can fix those tiny errors, keep them in their 22, keep them in their half, then, yeah, the score will eventually reflect that. It's just kind of, that's the hard thing.
Decent effort there from Joe Simmons, trying to convert that, but he has missed it. I'm sure he might have been getting flashbacks with Byron McGuigan chasing him down from last week and that slightly controversial ending to Exeter's defeat against Northampton, but he does miss it. But Exeter 12-8 ahead 15 minutes ago in this first half, and John O'Ross has taken Sam Skinner out without the ball in the air there, No complaints for the Sale captain, just a penalty. I do wonder if TMO Ian Tempest to have a look at this one on our screen in front of us. It looks as if Skinner has fallen on his back, so Ross should be okay, should avoid any further sanction there, but not ideal for Sale, and Joe Simmons with a immediate chance to clear his lines. But we are going to have a look at this one. Ian Tempest obviously coming down to call Carl Dixon, and Chris has got some insight here. He's got the ref mic in.
Yeah, I mean, I think initially Carl Dixon was saying to Ian Tempest, are you seeing this as anything more significant than a penalty? And Ian Tempest did tell Carl Dixon to have a look at this on the big screen, which is what we are now seeing. So Dixon has the chance to have a look at that and to see whether he thinks John O'Ross might be heading for 10 minutes in the bin or not. Carl Dixon is heading for a yellow card here for John O'Ross. He thought John O'Ross made no attempt to play the ball and isn't looking at the ball at the point of contact, so here comes the yellow card, and indeed John O'Ross is heading for the sin bin.
The 4th yellow card of the season for John O'Ross. Sam Skinner did fall on his back, but I suppose it was slightly reckless from the Sale captain. Can John have many complaints there, Ben?
No, to be honest, I didn't think it was going to be a yellow, but you can see why with the rules these days. But yeah, obviously it's reckless, but the intent's there. It's kind of like that's what we want. As reckless as it is, the intent's there. We want intent, but for us it's about controlling that. And kind of it's the next job. Yeah, we've had this opportunity many times, and for us it's now keep Exeter out of 22.
A real opportunity for the Chiefs. Sale down to 14 for the next 10 minutes. The Sharks are really going to have to defend well here, but it's a penalty to Sale. It looks like it's Ian Whitton who's been penalised. It's gone quite high. There's a man down here for Sale. It looks like it's Curtis Langdon. We'll just have a look at this one again.
See, that's what really annoys me. That's a yellow.
Well, we saw
it happens so much. Like I don't want to get onto their cases, but you see it so much. It happens to me all the time.
So you would have seen the Jack Willis situation then, Ben. As a jackler in that situation, how dangerous can it be with the neck roll?
Well, it's the roll and him. Like I don't know who he is, but he's coming with his shoulder leaning on his head. Like it happens so much, and we don't see it. The fans don't see it enough. I don't think the referees actually look at it enough.
Chris has got the ref mic in again.
Ridiculous. I don't understand how that's legal.
Chris, any insights you can give us?
I mean, Ian Tempest has called Carl Dixon to have another look at this. They've been trying to get the right angle, and that's what Ian Tempest has been saying to Carl Dixon. I can hear the conversation between the two of them through the ref link, and it was all been about trying to give Carl Dixon the best angle to make the assessment on this one.
There's a shoulder in there as well, Chris, from Jack Yendall to the head. Are they looking at the Yendall situation as well? Because the Exeter hooker certainly comes in with the shoulder, and it does look as if it connects with
straight to the head.
Curtis Langdon's head.
Yeah, so it could well be the the Jack Yendall collision rather than the Ian Whitten collision, which is of most interest to Carl Dixon here. He is talking to Ian Tempest about wanting a different angle.
We saw last week in the Premiership there were 5 red cards, and we could well see another one here. Any connection to the head. They may well be looking for mitigation here. There doesn't appear to be any. Jack Yendall's gone straight off his feet. Shoulder connected to the head of Curtis Langdon. And
yeah, the referee and the TMO have both agreed that it's a shoulder to head situation. Carl Dixon's wanting to see if there was any sign of any wrapping at the moment.
Sale just gone down to 14 themselves through that John O'Ross sin binning, and perhaps Jack Yendall's going to join him. I think this is certainly a yellow card at least, and quite possibly more. The Exeter captain could be in real trouble here.
It sounds like a red card is coming.
So Jack Yendall could be on his way off here. We saw 5 red cards in the Premiership last week. There will be another one, and Carl Dixon has spoken to his touch judge. He's spoken to Ian Tempest, and the Exeter captain will be sent off here.
A factor in the discussion was the speed with which Yendall hit the collision. And that was one of the things they spoke about. There was the speed with which Jack Yendall hit that collision. He came at distance, and it was shoulder straight to head. There was no clear attempt to wrap, and here comes the red card.
A massive blow. A massive blow for Exeter. Captain Jack Yendall sent off shoulder to head, and the visitors are down to 14 men for the rest of the game, and he can have no real complaints there, Ben.
Yeah, I've got no sympathy for him. People who lead with their shoulders into rucks into people's head, I've got no sympathy for them.
Big opportunity here for Sale. The line out just outside the Exeter 22. It will be 14 men each for the next 9 minutes. John O'Ross still off with that sin binning, but Sale with a real chance here to try and get their first win in 3 Premiership games, and it's a clean line out. Lou de Jager directing Sale at that more, and there's a penalty advantage to Sale. They're up into the Exeter 22, still going with the Sharks. Curtis Langdon in possession at the back of that more, and Sale still driving towards the Exeter line. Sam Skinner trying to disrupt things, and Langdon gives it to Faf de Klerk, and it's not the best pass from the scrum half, and Byron Sam Hill, using his kicking skills to keep hold of possession, but Sale up into the Exeter 22.
He's not going to be happy you got his name wrong there, especially with Byron.
De Jager carrying in this time. De Klerk, Dan de Preer, tackled by Ian Whitten, and de Preer tries to get back up, but he's knocked that one on, and a real missed opportunity for Sale, and this time it's the Sharks penalised for going off their feet at the ruck. Dan de Preer knocking on. A disappointing moment there for Sale, Ben. An opportunity, and just got it slightly wrong towards the end.
Yeah, like I said, the intent's really good from Dan. It's just obviously the execution you can't really fault. It's taken 2-3 men to get him down, and he's tried his best. It just doesn't quite come off. But like I said, we're still in that half, and it's another great opportunity to put Exeter under pressure again.
As Ben said, a real opportunity for Sale here to try and put Exeter under pressure with that red card, and we can go to Chris, who's got some messages.
Few minutes, bit of reaction to the Cordero try. It seems a long time ago now, so much has happened since, but David Taylor says that was filthy rugby. Let's hear the tomahawk chop. Richard Thompson says take a bow, Mini Cordero, what a finish. Then we got into some analysis of the John O'Ross yellow card. El Conte says, were they planning on carrying him downfield? Peter Taylor says stupid and unnecessary. Robson Green then has written to say Curtis Langdon's given away too many penalties. And Phil World has come in to say the Argentine tango at the AJ Bell on a Friday night is a new one. That's a good joke from Phil there, making a reference to Argentinian Facundo Cordero's weaving run through the Sale defence. But let us have your views on Jack Yendall's sending off as well. Be good to get your reaction to that one. And don't forget, on Sharks Live tonight we've got a competition where we'll give you a question at half time. There'll be one in the women's commentary at half time tomorrow, and the prize is a signed Sale Sharks women's shirt.
And just while Chris was speaking there, a substitute for Exeter, Jack Innard on for Facundo Cordero. Obviously with Jack Yendall being red carded, Exeter needing to bring a hooker on, so Jack Innard on for the Chiefs, and Exeter up in the Sale half. They've got a penalty advantage here, an opportunity to try something with that advantage, and they look to go left. A brilliant tackle from Faf de Klerk out of the line quickly, but will come back for the penalty to Exeter. De Klerk staying down here after that tackle. That will be a worry for Sale. He flew out of the line there, Ben, and did what he does so well.
I don't think you can question Faf's commitment to the team. Great read, well executed, and that's the kind of commitment you love to play with.
11 and a half minutes to go in the first half here at the AJ Bell Stadium. Exeter with the penalty. Joe Simmons looks as if he'll go for goal here, and they've got a real uphill task. Have the Chiefs. Jack Yendall sent off a shoulder-to-head collision at the ruck, and Sale have a great opportunity in this one. But as we know, Exeter so strong. They're defending Premiership and European champions, so it won't be easy for Sale, and Joe Simmons will try and extend their lead here. With that red card, Ben, we were discussing it just before as well about the jackler over the top of the ruck, and Jack Willis as well getting injured, and you're over the ball quite a lot in that situation when you're playing. Is there anything that you think a law that could be tweaked to try and protect players more in that area?
I don't think any laws need tweaking. I think it just needs to be refereed better. The amount of times you get hit on the head, I think it's a facet of the game that needs to be there. It just needs to be
refereed more consistently
and trained better. I think people have probably been trained for the last 10 years to fly over rocks. I think the training's got to be better from coaches.
Sam Simmons successful with that kick, and Exeter extend their lead to 7 points, and Sale chasing the game a little bit here, but they will have a man advantage once John O'Ross comes back from his sin binning. Exeter slow this one down. Jack Maunder will look for the box kick, pressured well by Lou de Jager, and that kick is not the best one, and Faf de Klerk, as he often is under the ball, and Sale in possession. McGinty gives a pass out to the right hand side. McGuigan carries. Sale up to the Exeter 10 metre line. Dan de Pria picks and goes from the ruck, supported by AJ McGinty, and Sale still in possession. De Klerk looks for a runner. He gives it to Lou de Jager, who gives a little offload, and Curtis Langdon couldn't take the ball. It looked as if it could have gone forward, but Carl Dixon plays on, and Sale are in possession. Sam Hill. Again, scrappy ball, and Faf de Klerk happy to try and find the territory here. An excellent kick from de Klerk, but it bounces up into the hands of Josh Hodge. But a brilliant tackle from Marlon Yard, and it's gone forward. A nice phase of play there from Sale. Faf de Klerk with the clever box kick. Josh Hodge collected it, but a brilliant tackle from Marlon Yard, and Sale have an attacking opportunity here, Ben.
Yeah, great pressure, good option from Faf. We're running out of numbers and seemingly going nowhere, so great option for Faf, and then good from Yardy and AJ to then execute and put pressure on Josh to make a mistake.
As a forward, what's it like playing with Faf de Klerk?
It's definitely gotten easier since I've first started playing with him. You love to see those things. You love to see your 9 go smash someone. Obviously, there are some times where it probably doesn't come off, but that's a risk reward. That's what you get with Faf. With all those moments, you may get the odd mistake, but those moments are definitely worth it.
Can you prepare for playing with him? Can you know what he's going to do? Can you sit there and training in the week and plan?
We prepare as best as we can, but for Faf, you don't want to restrict him. I think probably the last couple of months we've probably tried to restrict him, tried to put him into a game plan, and that's just not where he is the best. We still in the World Cup. He's best when he's able to play his own game and kind of just get on with it. I think we're seeing some good rugby from Faf over the last couple of weeks, which is probably from where this has come from.
Sale with the scrum just inside the Exeter 22 on this near side closest to us here in the AJ Bell stand. It's a decent initial drive from Sale, and they've gone forward here, and Carl Dixon does give Sale the penalty advantage, and de Klerk comes off the back of that scrum, and McGinty trying to find a gap. Sale with a real opportunity here. De Klerk. Lou de Jager carries again. Sale looking for a route back into this game. Dan de Pria. Exeter were quick off the line there, but Sale do well and keep in possession, and Curtis Langdon. Sale approaching the Exeter 5 metre line. There's a man over the ball for Exeter. Will come back for the penalty advantage from that scrum. It's been quite a tussle at the scrum so far, but Sale have certainly got the upper hand, and with Jack Yendall going off with that red card, a difficult evening in store for Jack Innard. And Sale will have the penalty. It'll be interesting to see what the Sharks decide to do here. It'll be a tough old kick for AJ McGinty, and it looks as if he'll be very happy to kick this one into the corner and give his forwards the opportunity to try and drive this one over. And Ben, this is a real chance for Sale.
Yeah, we've worked really hard for this opportunity. I think we started down here and we've worked our way up the field, so now it's kind of, you want to capitalise, you want to get those points for that hard-earned effort. And yeah, no better opportunity than a line out nearly 5 from their line.
As Ben said, a real opportunity here for Sale. Langdon to throw in at this line out. Can Sale repeat what Exeter did down the other end about 5 minutes ago? And it's a clean line out. Josh Beaumont comes down with the ball, and Sale are driving towards the Exeter line. Can they keep this one going? And it has stopped a little bit and it's gone to the floor, but the ball's available and Sale still have it about 2 metres out from the Exeter line. Josh Beaumont drives Sale even closer. Sale a metre out now. Curtis Langdon. Can he add to his try he scored last week? Lou Diaga. Good defence from Exeter around the fringes, but they're offside. Sale still in possession. Nailed this time. Sale so close to going over for a try. Even Marlon Yard's down there. Can he drive this one over? Yard close. Has he got that one over? Not quite. Sale is so close here. The backs haven't been used for now. It's staying in the forwards. Bevan Rod at the back, and Cam Neal tried to get that ball, but it's gone backwards, and de Klerk goes to the near side. Can McGinty get that one down? He can, I think.
I reckon it's a try.
The forwards were used pretty much all the way through there, but the ball spilled out the back of the ruck. Faf de Klerk found AJ McGinty on this left-hand side, and the American international looks as if he might have got this one down. We've gone to the TMO. Chris has got the earpiece in.
Yeah, the check is for a knock-on earlier in the move, so the referee is happy with the grounding, as is the assistant referee, and no question of foot in touch from AJ McGinty, but it's for a knock-on earlier in the play that Ian Tempest being asked to adjudge.
So Cam Neal certainly does lose possession, but initially it looks as if it might have gone backwards. It's quite hard to tell from the angle we're looking at on the screen. Any insights from Ian Tempest, Chris?
Still looking at it. It's a Sale penalty if it's not a try, because there was an advantage for offside, but Tempest still having a look at this. He hasn't instructed Carl Dixon to have a look at the big screen yet, so I'm assuming Ian Tempest will give a view one way or the other on whether this was knocked on or not.
He's not used any arms there. Surely that's a no-arm tackle, if anything. He's just gone straight to the ground. Look at his left arm. That's not a wrap.
Those areas around the ruck when you're defending, you do see that quite a lot now, don't you? Players sort of just going in with the shoulder. I suppose they will be looking at that as well, potentially, if they...
Well, players are so big these days, there's so many different ways you have to stop them.
No try. But Sale do have the penalty advantage for the offside. Cam Neal adjudged to have knocked that one on, but Sale still with a real chance here. 5 metres out from the Exeter line. 5 minutes to go in this one, and they're boosted by the return of John O'Ross from the sin bin.
And just to back up Ben's point, Carl Dixon saying to Faf de Klerk there, yes, there was a no-arms tackle and already was an offside, so there was 2 penalties effectively given. Sale having the choice, electing to take the scrum.
As Chris said, Sale choosing the scrum. They got a bit of an upper hand there at that previous one. Harry Williams and Bevan Rod have had a real tussle there so far in this game, and Sale trying to draw level with 5 minutes to go in this first half. Will they look to try and push this one over, Ben, or do you think you give the backs an opportunity?
I think you score out wherever possible. I don't think when against Exeter, I don't think you can be too picky about how you score.
There's a free kick, and Faf de Klerk takes it quickly, and Sam Hill up to the Exeter 5 metre line. Sale
that's on the blind
with a real chance here. Diaga tries a pop pass, but is knocked on by Dan Dupree. A real frustrating moment there for Sale. They had the opportunity, but it's knocked on again, and we've seen a few times this season Sale in the 22 haven't quite managed to convert those chances, and a Another missed chance there. Diaga trying the speculative offload. And Exeter in possession, and they can clear this one away and retain their 7-point advantage. But Maunda doesn't find touch, but McGuigan knocks that one backwards, and de Klerk had the ball. I don't think he's knocked that on. He's kept that in possession, and James tries a little step, and he's up to the Exeter 10-metre line. Some real intensity in this one now. De Klerk, McGinty on the short side, Luke James. Sale trying to right the wrongs of that previous attack. De Klerk again. Cam Neal carries in this time. McGinty tries the crossfield kick, and Marlon Yard's chasing after this one. Can he get a hand on it? Josh Hodge covers well, and he's put a foot in touch there, I think, so it will be a Sale line out, and a good result in the end there, Ben.
Yeah, I love that. Obviously we've made a mistake there, but you can see the intent of the lads. Next job, receive the kick off and play, and look where Exeter back. It's all about that constant pressure. Obviously the scoreboard doesn't reflect that at the moment, but there's 43 minutes left. If you keep doing that to Exeter, eventually they'll crack, and that's when the score comes. But it's about being relentless with that, and when those points don't come, just keep going, and eventually it will happen.
Josh Hodge just sticking his toe into touch there. It wasn't much, but it is a Sale line out, and they'll try the driving maul again, and Sale driving towards the Exeter line. Cam Neal's got the ball, and they're just hauled down short. Langdon's at the back of the ruck. He's got some forwards for support, but again the Exeter defence is good. I'm sure Carl Dixon will be checking for those no arms tackles again. We saw just earlier of Harry Williams, but Sale so close to that Exeter line. Dan Dupree, and Sale get a bit of a drive on there, but it's gone slightly sideways, but Sale is still in possession, and Exeter come over from that ruck, and John O'Ross is the man this time. Sale so close to the Exeter line. The Exeter defence is good so far. They come off the feet of the ruck. Carl Dixon didn't really have much of a decision to make there. It was quite obvious that the Exeter forwards had gone off their feet, and I think he'll be having a word with Joe Simmons here. It's been a few penalties in a row, down in the 22.
I think those penalties come from the pressure we're putting them under. I think, like I said, if you keep putting them under pressure, keep going at them, keep winning those collisions, they've got nothing else to do but give those penalties away.
Sale are going to try the quick tap, and it's Dan Dupree, but the Exeter defensive line is up quickly, but Sale so close to the Exeter line. Can they finally get over? And Sale just short again. Bevan Rod's at the back this time. Can he find a gap in the Exeter defence? And Bevan Rod's so close, and he pushes his way over. Perfect. A try for Bevan Rod, his first of the season. Sale eventually knocking the door down after about 5 minutes of pressure. A well-deserved score, and the Sharks are right back in this one.
Yeah, perfect. I think we were all disappointed when that offload didn't come, but look what happened when the guys, it doesn't really matter. Next job, focus on how you can affect the game next, and get back into their 5, put them under pressure, make them give penalties away, and yeah, Bevan looks very happy with himself there.
Bevan Rod, of course, having a stellar season for the Sharks. I think the majority of Sale fans would argue he's now the first choice loosehead at the club. What a prospect. We've seen him really develop throughout this season. He's an excellent scrummager, and carrying the ball, he's got to be one of the best young looseheads around in the Premiership, and he gets Sale right back into this game. As the clock ticks down on this first half, Sale trailing by 2 points before this McGinty conversion. Will he pop this one over before the clock hits 0, or will we have time for one last play? Carl Dixon even looking at the clock just to check. I think McGinty's quite happy to run this one down. I don't think he wants another phase. And it does hit 0, so this will be the last kick off this first half. Quite a easy kick for McGinty. Exeter rushing up, and just about sneaks in the left-hand post. I say easy, but it just about went over. A sigh of relief from AJ McGinty, but Sale have drawn level in this one, and what a gripping first half this has been. Sale taking an early lead, but being pegged back by an Exeter side who are now down to 14 men thanks to that Jack Yendall red card. But Ben, it's been end to end, it's been breathless. It's been a very good first half of rugby.
Yeah, and I think understandably some Sale fans will be frustrated with the mistakes Sale are making, but the thing is, when you're playing, like I said, Premiership champions, European champions, they do put you under pressure, and mistakes like that happen. So the thing is, being a professional rugby team, the thing is you've got to understand is it's about what happens after those mistakes, how you can then affect the game, create a positive outcome. And like I mentioned it before, perfect example of that is Lude. Sale fans will be upset with Lude making that offload. It didn't go to hand, but then how we reacted was perfect. We got back, we didn't rush, we didn't make any mistakes. We got back into their 5, and Bevan scored. So yeah, to be honest, it's, like I say, it is up and down, but that's what happens when you play one of the best sides in the world.
And what will the message be at half-time? Obviously, you've now got the man advantage, but sometimes that can be difficult. It was not easy just because the team's down to 14, and Exeter are the best side in the league probably the last couple of years. So what do you reckon the messages will be?
Like I said, those mistakes, it is those mistakes that have probably cost us. I don't think, without slagging Exeter off, I don't think they've created too much. It's kind of been, we made a misread in defence. Yardy first of all did that and gave them that opportunity. Curtis made the penalty. So kind of 2 penalties have kept Exeter in the game, to be honest. So that'll probably be what they're talking about, but I think they'll be really happy and really positive with how we've reacted from the back of 2 tries.
As Ben said, Sale will be happy with how they responded in that first half, and we can get some half-time messages from Chris.
Thanks very much, Ollie. Thanks, Ben. Henderson's been in touch on Twitter, and he said to me, I'd be jumping up and down now if I was in my seat at the AJ. Thank you, Henderson, for your message. We've also had a message from James Booth, who says, needed that try before half-time. Hopefully we'll take advantage of the extra man in the second half. Well, we will see. We were saying pre-match, weren't we, that we thought this match was going to be almighty tight, and 15-all at half-time absolutely backs that up. Now, we've been hearing from Ben Curry, of course, in that first half, and he touched on pressure as Ollie and he were closing off the first half analysis. And Colin McKevitt has been at home, as we saw before the match today, and he's been keeping a very close eye on first half possession. Colin, what have you seen?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I've been looking at there's been a bit of a swing in possession actually in the last 15 minutes. Sale Sharks have gone over and gained more of the possession in that first half. They were slightly under for much of that first half. And then in the last 10-15 minutes, most of that game being played in that last 10-15 minutes in the Exeter half. So it's really good to see. And obviously, Ben was saying the same thing, that with the pressure that was coming from Sale in that 22 is when Exeter are starting to make the mistakes. So I think looking at those statistics, it's really important, I think, for Sale Sharks to be putting the pressure on in those key areas, which is in that half and into that 22 area, Chris.
Well, it's certainly going to be an intriguing second half battle, Colin, with both sides suffering from cards in the first half. Sale with a yellow, but a red for Jack Yendall, certainly giving Sale the advantage in the second half. Down to 14 men is a big ask at this level for Exeter to be able to deal with. So certainly advantage Sale, you'd think, at half-time. But on the scoreboard, 15 points each, and Exeter are a team well drilled, well coached, and above all, well used to winning. So they will, I'm sure, knuckle down in that dressing room and talk about what they've got to do differently to win this match with only 14 men on the field of play. And who would feel for Facundo Cordero? What a fantastic try from the Argentinian early in the match, dancing his way through the Sale cover, but he then gets hooked a few minutes later. A necessary sacrifice with the need to bring on a replacement hooker with Jack Yendall sent off. So Cordero's night ends early, but he's had a certain impression and his time in the Northwest. But as we look ahead to the second half, every opportunity you'd think for Alex Sanderson's side to go on and potentially win this game.
The thing is there, Chris, is we're looking at the breakdown as well, and Sale are obviously winning more at the breakdown. They've won 51 rucks to Exeter's 34, which is great. And, you know, the defensive stats as well show the same. The meters made as well by Sale and the carries. Well, what is interesting is the statistic, I can't even get my teeth in, of offloads. Sale Shark have made 4 great offloads. Exeter haven't made any. And that's interesting to see that Sale Shark are potentially preventing them in the tackle from making those offloads. And we can get more of that in the second half.
Yeah, that's a great insight, Colin. I mean, we've seen Lou Diaga running through the midfield like a loose forward at times, and we've had players on the shoulder being able to link play. But that ability to offload is a crucial one, of course, in maintaining keeping momentum in an attack and keeping that pressure moving. And if you can stop an offload, as you rightly say, then you're taking a lot of pace out of the Exeter attack. You're giving the defensive line the chance to realign and be ready for the next phase, and you're slowing down Exeter's best efforts at moving the ball quickly. So we haven't seen Exeter threaten the Sale line that often in this first half. I guess the worrying sign, Colin, is they've done it twice, but they've scored twice.
Well, the thing is, it's about knowing your fellow player. If those offloads are going to come, you need to know that they're going to come. And knowing your teammate is going to be really crucial there. And there's no other way to test how well you know your teammate than to put them through a little game of Mr. and Mr., which is what we did last week at the training ground over at Carrington. And here's a little video of Mr. and Mr.
Definitely me.
Jonathan.
Jono. That's unfair though, bro. I shouldn't have been yellow card at the weekend. Come on.
I know he likes me really deep
Sam
down,
James.
but Jonathan is the captain and everyone likes Jono.
That's
I've got it the right way around, yeah.
Sam James, I think.
2019.
was last season.
Jono.
Yeah, I think myself.
Sam, you played 1,757 minutes. Jono, you played 2,058.
He got injured, did by himself. Who's he gone for?
Myself.
Yeah, good.
Definitely, he's fit as well. Wow.
You know what? Just to please him, I'll give him, because he's in a nice edgy
pajamas.
area, so he thinks, you know what, me and my ankles will fall out, so I won't wear anything on my ankles.
Bro, you wear pajamas every day.
What's wrong with that, bro?
That's literally, you get out of bed and come.
Just on the camera, I don't come in here to be judged.
You are judged. Harshly.
Could you show the cameras what you're wearing on your feet, please?
Yeah. Exactly, that's question answered. Sam James.
I'm just very well behaved. I've got I know what I need.
He knows who the boss is.
Yeah.
Sam James.
By probably inches, just to let you know. You're fast over 10, bro.
No.
You had a good one the other week, you know, I scored by interception on the cameras. All you can hear is Jono going, "Go Sam!"
Yeah, in the
but
distance.
like drifts out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sam.
No, you always wind me up about this.
Nah, bro, that's decent lid. Now he's taking the blonde tips out, much better.
What's the story behind the mullet?
Attention seeking.
Shaved it in lockdown. Girlfriend couldn't cut the back of my hair. It was all right at the
your
sides.
fiance, bro. Stop lying.
Fiance, yeah, sorry.
Wow, she's not going to be happy about that.
Sorry. She wasn't very good at the back. Only could do the sides, so we just let the back grow out, and then it's not been cut since.
Sam James. Owns how many houses? How many dogs? Chickens? Sam James.
Who's got the newer car?
You drive.
Who's got the more expensive house?
Discovery. What's that thing called? The Range Rover, bro. I drive a Volkswagen. Case closed. Probably me.
Yeah, Jono.
Yeah, exactly.
Good lad, yeah.
He's got more money and he's skint.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the night. I don't want to be paying the bar
Yeah,
bill.
I'll probably pay the bar bill.
Yeah.
Sam James.
Do you know why? Do you know why? This is purely on lyrics, right? If you ask Jono to sing a song, right, he'll combine 4 different songs within the same one because he doesn't know the lyrics to it. The only song he knows is The Killers' Mr. Brightside.
Singing for us?
Let's go, Jello.
Coming out of my cage. Ah, forgot the lyrics.
What are you singing, Sam?
Me? Well, I need a partner, but Nowhere, Jordan Sparks, Chris Brown.
Go on then.
No, I can't. It's not the right acoustic environment.
Sam.
Good dog. No, you, mate. Is he playing properly? He's not playing properly. He's not taking it.
I'm not going into punditry. You are.
Yes, you are, mate. You've got a gift for the gab, mate. That's what you have.
I think myself.
Yeah, John, we don't really shout
Well,
together. He's straight in after training.
It depends what you're asking, because Sam James, most definitely.
Guilty.
Most definitely.
There you go. Thank you very much to the lads there. That was great. Getting to know each other really well. They know each other really well, and so do the rest of the rest of the team. And that's why I think the offloads and the running rugby in the second half is going to be key. And also looking at the rest of the stats we should do in a minute. But listen, the social media is on fire, just like I think Sale Sharks are in that last 10, 15 minutes, which hopefully will translate into the second half, Chris. If you are at home right now, we want to hear from you. So we'll get round to all your tweets and all your comments. But listen, let's have a look at those score predictions. See if your score predictions from the first half are still on. Tell us where you think the action areas are, and give us your comments and your opinions on what you've seen so far. I mean, we've got Andy says if we stop knocking on every ruddy time, we can get into the 22 and we'll have an advantage. And you're absolutely right, Andy. When you start looking at the stats, Exeter were hardly in our 22 in that first half. We spent more time in their 22 than they did in ours. And I think that's the key element and the threat. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely about a possession-based game and also a territory-based game, because when you're playing with 14 men, particularly in the last quarter of the match, it can get very, very draining if you're having to do a lot of tackling and a lot of defending. I'm sure Rob Baxter will be likely to empty the bench a little bit earlier in the light of the fact that he has got a team that are having to make up for the fact they're one man short. Also really important, Colin, in this second half, that Sale keep their discipline. They do not want another sin binning, because then straight away the advantage they've got at the moment after Jack Yendel's sending off will be immediately lost. So they've got to keep 15 men on the field of play, and they've got to keep the disciplines right, because they're doing a lot right in this game. They've had the better of the first half, as you've been telling us, from a possession point of view and from a territorial point of view. So it's a question now in the second half of getting the basics right and working hard to make advantage of the fact that they've got an extra man.
Thanks, Chris. I'm having struggle hearing you at the moment, mate, I'm afraid. But let's go to some social media there as well. I'm sorry if you've said these already. Seri Denby says, crikey, O'Reilly, I can hardly watch. Robson Green needed that. Let's punish them this second half for Sale. You could be right, Robson Green. Tim Glover, brilliant news for the Isle of Man rugby. Try at domestic top table. Scott McGregor, Manx lad doing huge things in the Premiership. That's great to hear. Ian Hughes, cracking game. This Cameron Neal is having a blinder. Langdon's throwing and scrummaging has been spot on. Rod deserved his first try. Lots of promising signs of moves working. We need to keep 15 on the pitch, Jono. Chris, discipline, you mentioned it before.
Correspondent's absolutely right there, Colin. I was just saying something similar when I think you couldn't hear me just now. Vital at Sale keep all 15 on the field of play to take advantage in this second half of the fact they've got a man advantage, because if they lose anyone to the sin bin, they've nullified that straight away. But you'd think and you'd hope that Exeter will tire in the final quarter. Very difficult to hang on with 14 men for an extended period of time. And if Sale can get their basics right and continue to have the better of the possession and the territory, which you've been telling us about through the stats from the first half, then they've got every opportunity to go on and win this game. But it's going to be about discipline, it's going to be about using the full width of the pitch, working the Exeter defence hard, and hopefully ensuring that through the tackle count going up and up and up, opportunities will eventually come as Exeter tire. So a real opportunity this for Sale and for Alex Sanderson.
Absolutely, Chris. You know, those stats say it. Cameron Neal, 9 tackles. Jono, 5 tackles for 30 minutes that he was on. Everybody's making those tackles. We're going to be putting in defence. Discipline will be key. And as Ben said before, that pressure that comes is key. Ben, Ollie, I guess it's back to you.
Thanks, Colin, and a welcome back to the AJ Bell Stadium for the second half of this Gallagher Premiership match between Sale Sharks and Exeter Chiefs. The score's 15 all at half-time, but of course, Exeter down to 14 men after Jack Yendel's red card. If you were listening earlier, you'd have heard we've got a competition running over the next 2 days, so you need to answer this question right now and another question right in tomorrow's women's game. And the question is, who were the opponents the last time fans were allowed in for a Sale game at the AJ Bell Stadium? Who were the last opponents when fans were allowed in for a Sale game at the AJ Bell Stadium? So get your comments in and make sure you listen to the women's game tomorrow for the second question, and you've got the chance to win a Sale Sharks signed women's shirt. So get your answers in for that. And we're underway in this second half. Slightly scrappy for Sale from the kickoff, but the Sharks are in possession. Will Griff-John carrying in. Faf de Klerk shepherding his forwards and setting up for the box kick here. Sale hoping to take advantage of this one-man advantage they've got in this second half. De Klerk with the box kick, and he tries to find touch, and it's pretty perfect from De Klerk. An excellent exit from Sale. O'Flaherty looked as if he was going to try and keep that one in, but De Klerk clears his lines well, and Exeter with the line out on the Sale 10-metre line. 15 all here on this Friday night in the Gallagher Premiership. Jack Innard throwing in for Exeter, and they go to the back, and it's a pretty good ball for the Chiefs. It's carried up well by Dave Ewers. Exeter still in possession. Little wraparound pass, and O'Flaherty in possession, and he goes into Luke James, who does well to bring the winger down. Still the Chiefs with the ball. A big tackle from John O'Ross there, getting off the line quickly and pushing the Exeter man back. De Klerk forcing a bit of a kick there, and Byron McGuigan doing well to take the ball. And there's a knock-on by Exeter, so a good result in the end for Sale. Be a scrum for the Sharks. A slightly frenetic start to this second half, Ben.
Yeah, that kind of almost proved what I was kind of thinking at half-time. I think if you were thinking like Exeter, what would you be thinking now? And I think they 14 men down, you'd be thinking territory, put Sale under pressure. Let's get into their 22 where we know we play good rugby, and I think that kind of proved it there. They're nearly on the 22 and they're kicking the ball. So I think, to be honest, that's what we're going to probably be seeing from Exeter this half, is really trying to pin Sale back into the 22.
We'll give you a rundown of the teams at the start of this second half at the next break in play, but it's a Sale scrum on their own 22-metre line. It's gone straight to the floor, and whilst we reset this scrum, I'll just give you a rundown of those two teams. So the fullback for Sale, Luke James, Byron McGuigan and Marlon Yard on the wing. Sam Hill and Sam James are the two centres. The halfbacks, Faf de Klerk and AJ McGinty. Bevan Rod and Will Griff-John are the props. Curtis Langdon hooks today. Josh Bowen and Lou Diagra in the lock. John O'Ross and Cam Neild are the flankers, and Dan Dupria is the number 8. For Exeter, Josh Hodge is the fullback. Ian Whitton and Ollie Devoto are the two centres. Tom O'Flaherty is a single winger. After Facundo Cordero had to come off because of that Jack Yendall red card. The halfbacks are Jack Maunder and Joe Simmons. Alec Hepburn and Harry Williams are the props. Jack Innard is on for it hooker because of Yendall's red card. Sean Lonsdale and Sam Skinner are the locks. In the back row, it's Dave Ewers, Jack Vermeulen and Sam Simmons. So the two teams for you at the start of this second half, and that scrum eventually ends with a Sale penalty. We've had lots of restarts so far tonight, but Sale will be pleased with that one, and Sam James can clear the lines and try and get Sale up into the Exeter half.
It's another mystery scrum. No one knows what's happening. We've got a penalty, that's good. That's all that matters.
You flankers, do you really not know what's happening, or do you just...
I still don't have a clue why that's a penalty. Well, I just get my head down and just push as hard as you can and let them worry about with the outcome.
A good line out from Sale. Josh Beaumont getting up well there. The line out's definitely been an improvement this season from the Sharks, and that driving more gets going, and Exeter are being pushed back here, but Sale are going towards the touchline a little bit. They want to keep this one in and not turn possession over, but Sale is still driving forward up towards the Exeter 10-metre line. De Klerk happy to keep it in his forwards for now, and he eventually goes searching for the ball and pulls that one out to Sam Hill. McGinty round the outside, a pass out to Luke James, a bit of space here for the Sale fullback. Tackled well by Ollie Devoto. Sale just outside the Exeter 22, and Faf de Klerk gives an interception pass, and Alec Hepburn bursts away. He read the South Africans' pass brilliantly there, and this time it's Exeter who have a chance to attack, but Joe Simmons kicks it away. A frantic period of play. Luke James takes his up and under well. Little offload to Faf de Klerk. Marlon Yard might have a bit of space, and he steps well, and Yard uses all his speed and gives it to James on the outside. He tries a little chip over the top. James, Faf de Klerk and Yard chasing after this one, and Dave Ewers covers back well, and James tries to force him into touch, but Ewers does well to keep in possession, and Exeter have got the ball. Frenetic period of play, but it is Exeter in possession eventually. They're inside their own 22. They've been pushed back well by that Sam James kick, and Jack Maunder is going to try the box kick here. He's setting up the Caterpillar up. 6 minutes into this second half, and it stayed in play, and McGuigan takes that box kick. Sale on the Exeter 10-metre line. De Klerk returns the favour and is a box kick into the Exeter 22, and Jack Maunder can't take it. It looks as if it might have gone forward and have been caught by Tom O'Flaherty, but Carl Dixon says no, and Exeter retain possession. Bevanrod trying to get over the top of that ball there. He can't quite manage it. It's real slow ball for Exeter, but a good counter up. But he has come through at the side. Initially, Dan Dupree was okay, but eventually he'd gone in at the side, and slight frustration in the end there, Ben.
Yeah, great intent. You'd love to see it, but kind of in that position, is it necessary? What's the worst Exeter can do there? Our own line out on the halfway. So yeah, is it necessary? But yeah, the intent's there, which is what you love to see.
A real competitive game going on here at the AJ Bell. Is an excellent game to watch from inside the stadium. I'm sure you're enjoying it at home as well. Two great sides going toe to toe. Sale have had the better of most of it, but Exeter such a quality, dangerous side. We're seeing tonight, despite the fact they're down to 14 men, why they're the European and Premiership champions, and Sale have got a real task on their hands to try and force a win in this one. Exeter successful at the line-out. The visitors in possession inside their own half, and I think we'll see a lot of this in this second half. Trying to get territory, and Jack Maunder setting up for the box kick. Flaherty ready to chase this one, and a pretty good box kick from the Exeter scrum half, but a brilliant take from Byron McGuigan, leaping up. Some complaints there from the Exeter bench about a push coming in. I'm not quite who sure from, but it is an Exeter penalty. Faf de Klerk is the man who's been penalised in a big win there. We're seeing more and more now. Seeing more and more now, Chris, that referees are penalising those little pushes. You might have got away with that 5-10 years ago, but you can't get away with it now with the TMO. Referees see everything, and Johnny Ross penalised again there. Another moment of indiscipline from the Sale captain, and is Exeter with the opportunity. 9 minutes into this second half, still 15-all here at the AJ Bell, and Exeter successful at their line out, and they decide to use the backs, and O'Flaherty runs into AJ McGinty, but a good tackle from the Sale fly half. Penalty advantage for Exeter. The visitors still in possession. Dave Ewers driving in that time. Simmons gives a little pass to the outside, and Exeter breaking towards the Sale line, and McGuigan does well there to cover across and intercept the ball, but we will come back for the penalty to Exeter. Sale's indiscipline really costing them here.
Early in that move, so we're always going to come back for the penalty, but sudden shift in momentum here, Ollie, ever since that John O'Ross push.
Joe Simmons go into the corner again here. Exeter, you would think, will likely set up for another drive, but as we saw at that last line out, very happy to get the backs involved, and why wouldn't they with someone like Tom O'Flaherty in their ranks. But we'll see what the visitors go with this time. And they'll keep it in the forwards for now, but a good initial drive from the Sharks, pushing Exeter back in. Sam Simmons breaks down the blind side, and Sam Simmons is over for Exeter. He came from absolutely nowhere. Sale got the good initial push on, but Sam Simmons found the gap and he's over for his 12th try of the season.
Yeah, came from that kick. Exeter trying to go for that territory. They were very lucky with the penalty, and yeah, great break from Sam there. And yeah, to be fair, if you're Faf, you kind of, it happens so quickly. You can't really blame him there. It's kind of a great break, and yeah, he's capitalised on what was initially a good situation from Sale, and he's done really well there.
Sam Simmons, the leading try scorer in the Premiership, already passed his 10 tries from last season with 12 so far this year. What a player he is, and perhaps unlucky not to be in the England squad after that injury to Jack Willis. And a player like Sam Simmons, Ben, you've played against him before. What does he offer as a number 8 or anywhere in the back row? Because we know he can play across the positions.
Yeah, he's very good in attack. He's very explosive, and to be fair, I think Sale have nullified him. I don't think we've seen him at all this game. So in terms of that, we've done really well. He's obviously a quality player, like you said, leading to try scorer in the Premiership. But Sale up till now have done really well to keep him quiet.
Joe Simmons missing that conversion, and we can go to Chris.
Thanks very much, Ollie. 20 points to 15, then the Exeter lead. Linda Buckton's been in touch through social media. Linda says, feel for the Exeter player, but the referees are clinical in their decision making. Any contact to the head from a distance and no mitigation only ends in a red card. Shame as this guy has never been carded. Players need to think carefully at the clear out. Also heard from Paul Isherwood, who says, great game. Sale looking good. Now I'm panicking about the second half. Martin Roberts says, is Jono Ross signing for Exeter? That must be the only explanation. And Tom Langley says, anyone kind of fed up of Dan Dupree's penalties? What's he offering to Exeter there? So a bit of frustration from the Sale fans at the moment, Ollie, on the socials. We will get a few stats from Colin McKevitt on the tackle count as it currently stands in the next break in play.
Probably quite harsh there on Dan. I think I've only seen one penalty, I think.
Yeah, I can't think of too many tonight, but I suppose there was that one down there in the 22.
Yeah, that's the only one
coming
I can really remember
side.
from Dan.
Sale have got the ball and is knocked on from Luke James, I think, and Exeter have got the advantage in again. Sale's basics not quite helping them out, and Josh Hodge has a little bit of a gap here, but it's a good cover defence there by Lou De Jager. Chiefs in possession on their own 10-metre line. We'll come back for the scrum, and as Chris said just there, Colin McKevitt's got some stats for us, and we can go to Colin now.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, guys. Yeah, they're pretty harsh on Dan there a little bit in that, but that's where our fans are like. They're very critical, which is great. We love to be challenged. Just looking at the tackle count a little bit now as well. We've got Exeter 91 tackles to Sale 68. The Sale tackle count has risen slightly, obviously, in the past 5 minutes, as you'd expect. And missed tackles, Sale 12 missed tackles, Exeter 9 missed tackles.
A few changes whilst Colin was speaking there. Cobus Visa on for Josh Beaumont for Sale, and Exeter make a change in the front row. Harry Williams off and Marcus Street on. So some changes 13 minutes into this second half. Sale obviously very lucky in the lock position to have someone like Cobus Visa coming off the bench for Josh Beaumont, and I'm sure he'll be hoping to make a big impact in this second half. Just whilst we reset another scrum, a reminder, we'll be at the Core Park Stadium tomorrow for Sale Sharks women against Harlequins women. We spoke to Beth Stafford earlier tonight after that win over DMP Durham Sharks last week. So join us tomorrow from 2 o'clock, kick off at 2:30 for full match pictures and commentary with Chris and myself. More reset scrums here. A new prop on, of course, for Exeter. Scrum on this halfway line on the far side to us here in the AJ Bell stand. Decent attacking position, but it's a penalty to Sale. They get the better of that scrum. It's gone to floor. And AJ McGinty can try and pin Exeter as deep as they can back inside their own half, and with 26 minutes to go in this one, Sale searching for a way back into this game. Exeter could go top of the Premiership with a win tonight. Sale looking to get back into that top four, and McGinty kicks the ball into touch, and Sale have that line out just outside the 22.
Yeah, great opportunity for Sale. This is a similar position to Exeter were in the first half, so like I said, anything can happen from here.
Langdon to throw in at the line out, and Lou Diaga gets up well, and they come off the back of that line out, and Langdon tries a little inside pass, and Lou Diaga eventually picks up in a great offload from the South African to Dan de Preer, and Sale up inside the 22, and Faf de Klerk tries a little running box kick, but it's charged down, and Exeter have turned that one over, and we perhaps saw the downside of Faf de Klerk's talents there, trying something that probably wasn't necessary, but Sale will get another line out. Exeter slightly scrappy from the resulting ruck, and we can go back to Chris.
Some reactions on the socials to the Sam Simmons try. Emma Camp says, on Sam Simmons, of course he scores, no surprise. Reflecting Sam Simmons' fantastic try-scoring record this season, which Ollie mentioned, that's his 12th. Chris Laslett says, Sam Simmons scores. In other news, water is wet. So no surprises for these Sale fans that Sam Simmons got on the score sheet tonight. Paul Anderson says, penalty knock-on, penalty knock-on, penalty knock-on, repeat, repeat. And John Wood says, free gift try from Sale, 4 penalties in a row, and we had them pinned in their 22. So disappointing. Please keep your messages coming through on the social media. We're on YouTube tonight, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook too, so please keep interacting with us, as you can do, of course, post-match. And any questions for Ben Curry, who's alongside Ollie Lathrope, in the commentary box, please post those as well, and we'll put some of those to Ben.
Just another break in play here as we await this line out for Sale, just outside the Exeter 22. Sale trailing by 5 points in this one, 25 minutes to go. An Exeter line out, sorry. And they go long over the top, and just about holds on to that one, does Ollie Devoto, and the visitors are in possession inside their own half, and I can't imagine they'll be keeping this inside their own half for too long. Stu Townsend on for Exeter, and he box kicks that one away, and Marlon Yard comes up brilliantly to take that catch, and Sale in possession inside the Exeter half. De Klerk. De Klerk again is not the best pass to McGinty, and he tries a chip over the top, and Sam James is after this one. Can Sam James gather it? He may have given a little bit of an offload there. I think he might have tried to flick it to another Sale player, and Sale is still in possession, but it's a penalty. Jono Ross is the man penalised for going in high at that ruck. Is another penalty conceded by Ross. He's already been yellow carded tonight, and discipline letting down the Sale captain once again, and more frustration for the Sharks. Another chance, and they've gifted Exeter the opportunity to clear their lines, and Joe Simmons will be very happy to oblige.
Yeah, I need to have a look at that ruck. I didn't quite see where, because he looks pretty low. His speed was good. I just need to see that again. But yeah, disappointing. Obviously, it's Sale in their 22. We're stringing together 2 or 3 great phases. It's just kind of that third, fourth phase where we kind of almost force it. We don't stick to the game plan. So I'm sure those messages will be getting onto the lads that we just need to stick to our processes, keep hold of the ball and put Exeter under pressure.
Richard Capstick on for Exeter. Just under 23 minutes to go in this one. A real battle out there so far. Both teams giving it all, but Exeter are ahead by 5 points on the scoreboard, as Sales and discipline has really let them down so far in this second half. And again, the Chiefs are going to look for territory here. Replacement scrum half Stu Townsend, very happy to kick this into the Sale half, but there's a poor kick from Townsend, and we'll come back for a Sale line out straight out on the 4 win. A real bonus there for Sale is Exeter make another change. Ben Moon on.
Yeah, I just like to point out, obviously Johnny gave away that penalty, but great reaction from him to then put pressure on the charge down. Now he's earned the team another opportunity to attack in their half. So yeah, these penalties might be happening, but if you look at the players' reactions post that penalty, I think you'll see a lot of positives from the team so far.
It's quite finding that balance, isn't it, I suppose, as well. You've got to play on the edge a little bit sometimes, haven't you?
Well, yeah, it's rugby. You have to have an edge about you. There's no point, you can't be soft. So yeah, these things happen.
A chance here for Sale, for Byron McGuigan down this right-hand side. Sale up towards the Exeter 22. A brilliant pass from McGinty to McGuigan. And Faf de Klerk breaks away down the short side. He gives it to Sam James. Sale about 10 metres out from the Exeter try line. De Klerk searching for that space, and he did so well there. And Sale with a real chance. Exeter quick off the line. Could they have been offside there? Cobus Visa carrying in. De Klerk out to John O'Ross. Just needed one more pass there, and Sale might have been in. Langdon, a little pop offload to Marlon Yard. Sale so close to the Exeter try line now. Ross. Sale searching for a way back into this game. Will Griff John, McGinty, he tries a dummy. McGinty finds a way through and gets the ball down. A try for AJ McGinty. An excellent dummy from the American fly half, and Sale are right back in this one, and we saw the best of AJ McGinty there. He attacks the line so well. It was started by Faf de Klerk, he created the opportunity, and it was finished by his half-back partner AJ McGinty.
Yeah, so Jono obviously gave away that penalty, but earned the team another attacking opportunity in our half. Then the Faf produces the goods, and we just stay on top of them and keep that pressure. Good decisions, a really good decision from AJ to spot that gap. He's really good at that. But it all comes from that ability to, shrug off that penalty and then come back and put the pressure on Exeter. Although, what is this? Oh.
We may well be checking this one. Chris has got the headset in. I'm sure he'll...
Potential obstruction is what Carl Dixon and Ian Tempest are having a look at here. So we're just looking at the replay now as McGinty takes this pass. And it was Lou Diaga who was in the vicinity, and the question was, did he obstruct a potential Exeter tackler to create the space for McGinty to run through? There was certainly contact, but could it be reasonably said that Diaga deliberately stopped an Exeter player from making a potential tackle? It sounds like it's going to be ruled out, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Who's he looking at? Lou.
The view of Carl Dixon is that Lou Diaga has stopped a possible tackle being made, so I'm afraid this try is going to be ruled out.
No try, says Carl Dixon. A real blow for Sale there. AJ McGinty had done so well, but he's adjudged some crossing, and will be an extra penalty and a real let-off for the visitors, and another chance goes begging, and it's a real shame for Sale. Would have been a brilliant try from McGinty. He's so good at attacking the line and beating that first defender, but it's not to be, and the score stays at 20 points to 15.
Yeah, massively disappointing for Sale. Do I agree with that decision? No comment. But yeah, like I said, Sale, you've got to get over it now. Next opportunity now, so keep Exeter in their half, and let's try. The whole point now in defence is get the ball back. So big opportunity now to really put Exeter under pressure, get the ball back, and kind of redo it again. There's no point feeling sorry for ourselves now.
Two changes in the front row for Sale. Ross Harrison and Kearney Oosthuizen on at prop. So Alex Sanderson deciding to freshen things up in the front row. But as Exeter in possession, they've got the 5-point lead heading into the last quarter of this one. And again, they'll look for the box kick. We've seen it a lot in this game so far from the visitors. Understandable, really, down to 14, wanting to play in with the territory. But McGuigan takes that kick well, and Sale return the favour here through de Klerk, and his box kick is another good one, and McGinty tries to take that one, but it's taken well by Stu Townsend, and it's the Chiefs with the ball. Ewers carries in. Exeter just inside the Sale half. Lonsdale, the try scorer. Exeter not really going anywhere so far. Cam Neild with an excellent tackle there, and they'll finally decide to use the backs, and Simmons finds a bit of a gap and he gives it on the inside to his brother Sam, who tries a dummy, but Curtis Langdon tackles him well. Exeter just going sideways for now. Substitute Richard Capstick carries in, but there's a penalty to Sale this time. Exeter going straight off their feet. Replacement Marcus Street is the man penalised. And a chance for Sam James to kick this into the Exeter half, and before he does so, we'll go to Chris.
Ollie, has AJ McGinty ever played in a match before where he's had 2 tries disallowed? I don't suspect this match will be one he looks back on with much fondness unless his fortunes change in the last 18 minutes, but plenty of time for him yet to make his mark and maybe third time lucky.
Absolutely, Chris. I can't imagine he has, and I think he, especially on that second one, might have been slightly harsh there, but Carl Dixon deciding it was an infringement and Sale have to try again, and it's a good start to that line. Like Dan Dupree getting up well, and Langdon at the back of this maul as Sale drive towards the Exeter line. A good initial drive. Byron McGuigan waiting next to Faf de Klerk, but he's happy to leave this in the forwards for now, and de Klerk gives it to Hill, and he carries up the middle against his former side. Slightly slow ball, and Ross is the man to carry in this time. Sale trying to build some momentum. De Klerk to Ross Harrison, he has his first touch. Sale go to the short side, Kearney Oosthuizen. The Sharks still in possession here, looking for that try to get them back into this game. Cam Neild. De Klerk again. Lou de Jager right at the back to McGinty. He tries to dummy. Can he find the gap this time? So close to that third try, and it's John O'Ross, and a great carry from the Sale captain. Dan Dupree picks up off the back of that ruck. Sale 5 metres out now. Langdon, supported well by de Jager. Sale pushing for that try to draw level in this game. McGinty tries to find another gap. He does that so well. He's close to doing the same there. Slow ball for the Sharks. Ross really reacted well to those couple of penalties he conceded, and de Klerk gives a little pop offload to Lou de Jager. Sale still carrying. Visa tries this time. Ross again, I think that's his 4th carry in this phase of play. He's been everywhere, and de Klerk gives a little pop pass to Ross Harrison. Sale going through the phases here. A pass on the outside and it's been knocked on. It's gone backwards, but it has eventually been given as a knock on, and a real blow for Sale there. They went through so many phases, but the Exeter defence was good, and Sam Hill against his former side is the man who comes up with the mistake, and another missed opportunity for the Sharks. They've had many in this second half, but it's just been down in that 22 where they haven't quite got things right, and unfortunately it'll be an Exeter scrum and more changes coming here for Sale. Sam Dugdale coming on. 16 minutes to go in this one, and we can go back to Chris.
Yep, Sam Dugdale comes on for Cameron Neild. Excellent performance from Neild at open side tonight. Worked really hard around the breakdown. So short break in play. Let's bring Colin McKevitt in, who's keeping a close eye on the Opta stats tonight. Colin, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the discipline like you were talking about before, and the penalties. It's pretty level, to be honest. 11 to Sale, 10 to Exeter. I think what's in key here actually is where those penalties are taking place, the areas on the pitch. And if we just take a look at where Sale's second half penalties are, they are looking like there's 2 key ones in the 22. Giving those penalties away when you're in attack mode, I think is pretty crucial. We've not got the rub of the green at the moment. With AJ not getting that try, we've got to really be careful with our discipline in that attack zone, I think.
Thanks, Colin.
Exeter with the scrum inside their own 22. It really has been all Sale in this second half, apart from that Sam Simmons try, but it is Exeter who still lead with just under 16 minutes to go. We may well be seeing a change at half-back here. Rob Dupree warming up down in front of us, and Rafi Quirk chatting to Alex Sanderson. Quirk made such an impact off the bench on his debut last week, and he'll be looking to do the same tonight. But it's a big call from Alex Sanderson to take Faf de Klerk off with 15 minutes to go in this one.
Just on the point, I think it's the halfbacks are going to be crucial in this last 15 minutes. It's going to be crucial to where they're going to be the ones in charge of where the game's going to be played. And like I said, Sale may be making errors, but when you spend enough time in the 22, teams do give away penalties. You eventually will get that try. So it's important to make sure Sale stay in the right area of the pitch. Unfortunately, penalties, so it won't happen. But
a big moment there. The Exeter front row getting the push on it, that scrum, and they do win the penalty, and they can clear their lines again. Sale frustrated so far in this second half. They've had plenty of opportunity, plenty of chances. They haven't quite got things right when down in the red zone, and this might be why Alex Sanderson is making that change at half-back. Rafi Quirk almost scored on his debut last week against Harlequins. That brilliant run where he was hauled down just short of the line. Can he make a similar impact tonight? Alex Sanderson and the Sale fans will be hoping so. And that change will be made now. Big call this. Rafi Quirk and Rob Dupree coming on. Faf de Klerk is coming off along with Sam Hill. So a slight rejig. Rob Dupree going into the centre where he has played, of course, a bit earlier in the season. So AJ McGinty stays on. Rob Dupree looks like he's gone in at 12. And that's the end of the night for Sam Hill and Faf de Klerk. Exeter with the line out on their own 10-metre line. Another solid line out from the visitors, and Sam Simmons breaking off the back of it. He does that so well. That's how he scored his try. Exeter keep it in their forwards for now. Capstick carrying that one up. Again, his slow ball. Exeter haven't really tried to play extravagant rugby in this second half, certainly since they scored their try to go ahead. It's a much better kick this time from Townsend, but a great take from Marlon Yard. He's been superb under the high ball tonight, and a first chance for Quirk to feed his forwards. John O'Ross carrying up. McGinty tries a crossfield spiralling kick and is not the best one, and O'Flaherty has a relatively simple take, but the Sale chase is good. But O'Flaherty running across the pitch, a Sale man hasn't got near him so far, and gives it to Hodge. And Exeter do well initially there, but there's another penalty to Sale. The Chiefs going off their feet, and Sale have another chance here. They've had so many in this second half. And more indiscipline at the ruck from Exeter. There's been a couple of times they've done that in the last 10 minutes. And can Sale here finally make this pressure count, Ben?
You hope so, but like I said, spend 13 minutes in the 22 now, and you're bound to get a score. All Sale need is 7 points now, so kind of like when you have the territory, like I said at the start of the game, it's all about rugby at the moment. It's all about physical collisions and winning the territory. And when the collisions are equal, it's all about the territory, and that's what we're seeing at the moment.
The line out is a good one. The first part of the job done for Sale. Diaga taking it well. Langdon at the back of that maul, and Sale moving forward. Rafi Clerk assessing his options. Starting to go sideways is the maul, but Sale will be happy with it so far, and they find a bit of a gap, and Curtis Langdon makes a little step. Can he get towards the line? He puts the ball down and he's scored. Curtis Langdon found the space off the back of that maul, and after scoring against Harlequins last week, he adds another try this week, and Sale have drawn level in a massive 12 minutes of rugby coming up.
Yeah, I think great spot from Curtis, very Sam Simmons-esque. Like I said, great from Ross. I don't think fans will be looking, but if you look at Ross and Dougie there, great work from these two to win that collision, open up that space for Kurt, and yeah, great finish from Curtis. I think he definitely wanted that one.
A massive try from Curtis Langdon.
He was celebrating before he even put it down.
A big reaction from Alex Sanderson there as well. He knows how much that means to all Sale fans. 20 all, 11 and a half minutes to go, and the opportunity here for Sale to take the lead. AJ McGinty eyeing this one up. All the Exeter chasers are on that line, ready to rush up. I think now, after last week, what we saw with Joe Simmons, as soon as there's a movement, there'll be Exeter players rushing towards AJ McGinty. But a massive kick here for the American to give Sale the lead. Takes a look at the posts. Back down at the ball. So good off the tee usually is McGinty. And is this going to sneak inside the left-hand post? It does. A massive kick from McGinty. It looked at one stage as if it might slide to the left-hand side of the post, but he's got it over, and Sale now lead by 22 points to 20.
Yeah, it probably would have been a bit nicer if they scored that in 5 minutes' time. But 10 minutes now. I think Sale will be. The message will now be get back in, get the ball, catch the ball cleanly, and get back into Exeter's half. Exeter's 22.
A massive 10 minutes to come. Sale leading by 22 points to 20. Things have got to change now from Exeter. They've been very happy in this second half to play the territory, kick the ball away, but now it's them who's got to go after the game, and Sale will be the ones happy to clear their lines, and Quirk does so. Not a ton of distance on it, but it does allow the Sale chasers to be competitive, but it's come back down on an Exeter side, so the visitors with a chance here. just inside the Sale half. Capstick gives an offload to Marcus Street. Slow ball for Exeter. Carried in by Dave Ewers. Pushed back inside their own half. Simmons gives a little pass to Tom O'Flaherty. He tries to find the gap, but he's tackled well by Cobus Visa. Exeter not really going anywhere here, trailing by 2 points, down to 14 men. Good defence from Sale.
Yeah, that's a really good set from Sale. Perfect. Put them back in their half, let them kick it back, and then we get a clean kick and put them further back in their half. It's all about the territory in this final 9 minutes. We don't want to be playing, as boring as it is for you Sale fans, we probably don't want to be playing any rugby in our half. It's all about getting into Exeter's half and camping there. It's very hard to score from your own 22.
A poor kick from Stu Townsend, and Luke James calls for the mark, chooses to keep this one in play. Exeter can kick this one back towards the Sale fullback, in a much tougher take this time from James, but he does well to evade the first tackler and keep the ball. And Sale now in possession on their own 10-metre line. Visa drives up, and de Klerk with another chance here to box kick this one away.
Great game management from Rafi. One phase, then box kick it, put the pressure back on Exeter.
And McGuigan's are judged to have knocked that one on, so Exeter do have the advantage, and Sam Simmons carries hard down this short side. The Chiefs have got to go chasing this game now, having been ahead for so long in this second half. Curtis Langdon's tries change the complexity of this game. Lots of noise from those inside the AJ Bell Stadium, from substitutes trying to cheer their team on, and James takes another box kick. Important here for Sale to clear out the Jackalers. No penalties conceded here. You've got to be so careful. A player like Ben would be looking for a turnover here if he was an Exeter player, and I think wisely Quirk will clear his lines, make sure Sale are playing in the right areas. Again, McGuigan chases well, and O'Flaherty may well have knocked that one on, and he has, and Carl Dixon thinks he has, and it's a scrum to Sale. And Ben, since coming on, Rafi Quirk's had to do his fair share of box kicking, but they've all been excellent kicks, and you just want to slow this one down now, don't you?
Yeah, it's the kicking and the game management. It's him and AJ controlling that, and like I said, this next 7 minutes now is all about that territory, making sure we're in Exeter's half, and they've executed that perfectly. They'll be the exact messages that are going on. Make sure we're in Exeter's half, and fair play to, as boring as it is for you rugby fans, that's how you win a rugby game. That's how you close it out.
Curtis Langdon down for Sale, and whilst we wait for a restart, we can go to Chris.
Thanks very much, Ollie. Yes, Gary Aspel's been in touch, who says, get in Sale. That was after Curtis Langdon's score. Thanks, Gary. John Lewis, an Exeter fan, has been in touch. He says, need to get Hodge off. That's Josh Hodge, the Exeter fullback. He's out of his depth. Thank you, John, for getting in touch. So we got 7 minutes left on the clock. Colin McKevitt's been keeping an eye on the stats all night. Colin, what clues are you picking up which might give us a feel of how the last 7 minutes might play out?
So listen, I'm looking at Sale Sharks with the larger of the metres gained, 240 metres to Exeter's 163. But the offloads for me is what's key here. 10 offloads to Exeter's 2. You can't to take advantage of that extra man. Sale have been keeping that ball off the ground. That's the key thing. As soon as you go to ground, Exeter have the ability to defend that well. So you keep that ball alive, you're going to score. You're going to get through the gaps.
Thank you, Colin.
Some interesting stats there from Colin, especially on metres and offload. Sale having the better of both, and I think it shows how this game has gone. The Sharks having so much of the attacking play, but now they'll just want to see out this last 6.5 minutes as Quirk gives it to McGuigan off the scrum and to McGinty, and he's got Luke James outside him. Luke James running towards the Exeter 22, and he does well there, does the Sale fullback. Sale just outside of that Exeter 22, playing in the right areas. Dan Dupree breaks an initial tackle, and Sale now up into the 22, and Sam Simmons trying to get over the ball. It looked as if he had turned that one over, but I don't think it's him that's been penalised. It's for an incident elsewhere, and it is a Sale penalty, and I'm sure we'll see nothing here but a kick it goal. Sam Skinner, the man penalised for Exeter. McGinty will be using up all of his allotted time here. Sale with a chance to extend their lead to 5 points.
Couple more messages in on the socials just as we wait for AJ's kick. Simon Hallow says, great team try. Fantastic defence by Jono, which we won the pen off. Good kick to touch by AJ. Line out well executed. Set the drive nicely, and Cam showing a great instinct to score. Curtis it was. Icing on the cake, AJ converting it to put us in front. Thank you, Simon. And Rob Southern says, I'm so happy for Langdon. Candyman, you hero, putting in a right shift tonight. Ben Curry, is Curtis Langdon known as Candyman?
He's the sugar man. I've got
the sugar man.
Yeah, I've got many pictures for his birthday of him. Especially, he loves the France away trips. He loves the crepes. He loves the crepes with sugar, crepes with Nutella, crepes with honey. He just loves sugar.
How does he cope on Shrove Tuesday, Ben? Does he just eat them all day?
Yeah, you don't see him in training the next day. I think luckily this year we had Wednesday off, so he was just chilling at home, probably eating some leftover pancakes. He loves his brownies, he loves his Haribos, he just loves every bit of sugar.
Some interesting stories there on Curtis Langdon as we await this important kick from AJ McGinty.
Yeah, he also loves his, the little Straubs, he loves Straubs as well.
Get all the good stories here on Sharks Live. 5 minutes to go in a massive game, we're talking pancakes, but there we are. AJ McGinty's kick successful, and Sale leading by 5 points with 4 minutes to go in this one, and Exeter really have to do something special now. They haven't really looked like scoring since Sam Simmons went over, so they'll need a try in this last 4 minutes. Sale just need to manage this one sensibly, and a sliced kick there, and Exeter can run this one back through Josh Hodge. The Chiefs needing a try, trailing by 5 points, 3.5 minutes to go. Simmons, a good tackle by Lou Diaga. He's been everywhere tonight on his first start.
Yeah, Lou's been very impressive tonight. His work rate's been immense, and every tackle, he's not just making his tackles, there's dominant, there's an intent to them. When you're an Exeter player, you have a player like Lou opposite you, it's very challenging.
Exeter inside their own half, the Sale defensive line coming up with speed. Just no penalties here. Feels like the only way that Exeter are going to find a way back into this one is if Sale concede a penalty. The defence has been so good in this second half. Sale just need to keep that going for the final 3 minutes, and Exeter move to this left-hand side, and Ewers carries up, and Exeter now inside the Sale half. Rob Dupree tackling well there. Scrappy from the Chiefs.
It's all from the pressure from Sale. Tackle after tackle, they're not making any metres after the gain line. It's very hard to attack against, and then eventually you force a penalty.
A massive turnover from Jono Ross. He got over the ball there. The Exeter carrier was isolated, and surely now that's the game for Sale. Jono Ross conceded some penalties early in this second half. He was yellow carded early in the first half, but as Ben has said, in the last 10 minutes or so, Jono Ross has really stepped up, and he's won a penalty for his side there. And the question is this slightly too far out for AJ McGinty? It is. So Sale will go to the corner, and the chance here now for Sale to try and add that bonus point try.
Yeah, like I said, it's all comes from the pressure from Sale. Great double man tackle from Lud, and he's isolated. Cliniers are probably tired from the last 15 phases. Sale have forced them to play, and they're late, and it forces that turnover. So yeah, great opportunity identified by Jono.
Sale in the right area of the field. A minute and a half to go here at the AJ Bell. There's a little cheeky line out from Langdon to Visa, a hint that Visa might have been tackled in the air, but Carl Dixon says no. But Sale crucially have the ball inside the Exeter 22. They're playing in the right areas. Can they see this game out? Can they get a win on the board after losing their last two? Nothing extravagant needed here. I'm sure the Sharks happy to just keep this in the forwards, keep possession, and not give Exeter any opportunity to try and get their hands back on the ball. Slow ball, but Sale won't mind. They're 5 metres out from the Exeter line. Can they add that fourth try? Harrison carries in this time, but it's a turnover. A penalty conceded. Sale going off their feet. Cobus Viso is the man penalised, and referees are watching for that more now, Ben. You do see more penalties for players going off their feet, especially at the ends of games when you're trying to secure the ball and not give up the ball to the opposition.
Yeah, it's almost like they're looking to even up the game. To be fair, I agree with that. It does take the element of the competition away, which is crucial in rugby union. That kind of defines the sport. You want that competition there, and to be honest, for the first time, I probably agree with Carl on that decision.
This will be the last play. Exeter must score a try. Defending European and Premiership champions are going to be beaten here by Sale unless they can find a late score. The line-out is a successful one, and it's a good initial drive from Exeter. Sale trying to push them towards that touchline, but Exeter keep the ball and Sam Simmons is in possession. Exeter must score here. It's the last play of the game. Slow ball from the Chiefs.
But what's really good to see is where this play's happening. For you fans at home, kind of like that territory battle we've been talking about all night, this is a perfect opportunity. Well, it's a perfect situation where Exeter have to play from their own half. But if that
penalty to Exeter, the one thing that Sale didn't want.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs will have another chance to push Sale further back down the field. And we've said all night, penalties have played a massive role. AJ McGinty, the one penalised there, and Joe Simmons pushes Exeter up just outside the Sale 22. This will be the last play. Sale looking for just their second win against Exeter in their last 11 matches. This will be the 11th match after Exeter have won 9 of the last 10. Exeter have won on their last 5 trips to the AJ Bell Stadium. Sale so close to breaking that record tonight. Again, it's a successful line-out from Exeter. A good initial drive from Sale.
We know what happened last time that happened. So.
The Chiefs still going forward and it's gone to floor. Who's pulled that down? And Sam Simmons has come off the back of that more, and Exeter have the ball inside the Sale half and just outside the Sale 22. Is that another slightly high tackle from Cobus Vises, but he's got his hands on the ball, and Sale just need to kick this one into touch and they'd have got the win. Sam Simmons is over the ball and is a penalty to Exeter. All Sale had to do there was get the ball out, and Sam Simmons got over the ball and forced the penalty. What a play from Simmons. Ben, I know you're a Sale man, but you have to appreciate that.
Yeah, he's really good opportunity, and kind of like, yeah, I was just a bit gutted. You just want the game to really be over right now. Yeah, for Sale now, it's kind of like, forget that, next job. We've got a massive job here, keeping Exeter out. It's a great opportunity to now prove against the leading Premiership, probably leading 22 team, if that's a thing, to kind of get the ball back from them now. It's a massive opportunity for us now.
Exeter with the line-out. Can they find the try that will win the game? The line-out is clean. Exeter have not really gone anywhere from the maul. Johnny Ross coming round to try and disrupt possession. Exeter still going forward a little bit, but surely this is going to have to come out soon, and the Chiefs aren't going to drive this one over, so they have to use Dave Ewers off the back of that maul. Exeter about 7 metres out from the Sale line. Can Sale hold on here? Some real tension inside the stadium. I'm sure there is at home as well. This would be a massive win for Sale. There's a man over the ball for Sale. Could that be a turnover? No, it isn't. And Exeter go down the blind side. Good tackle there from Curtis Langdon. A carry in from Jack Innard. Exeter struggling to get any go forward here. Ewers carrying in again. The Sale defensive line is good so far. Just one final defensive shift needed here, but there's another penalty advantage to Exeter. Dan Dupree not rolling away, and the Chiefs have another chance. Well, they try something here. Flaherty tries to step yard, and Simmons on the outside to the right to Hodge, but the Sale defensive line is good. A breathless end to this game. Exeter searching for the try that will give them a 6th win in a row at the AJ Bell Stadium, but Sale holding on for now. The Sale defensive line has been good. We'll come back for another penalty. Ben, this game, it's nervous to watch, isn't it? It's nervous to watch.
Yeah, you kind of wish we got the ball back and Simmons didn't get that turnover, but like I said, we're doing really well so far.
Simmons takes it quickly. Exeter 5 metres out, still looking for that try that will give them the win. Ewers beats the initial man. A great tackle from Rob Dupree, and Byron McGuigan so close to getting over the ball. The Sale defensive line has been excellent. They just need to keep their discipline now. Simmons tries a chip over the top. Is there anyone going towards it? Sam James makes the catch, and that'll be it. No. It's another penalty advantage. We didn't see that up here from our commentary position, as Ben says he wouldn't go for that chip in that situation, so we'll have another penalty. And what's the mindset here, Ben? It's just been endless, hasn't it, this last 2 or 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's kind of make a tackle, get up, make another tackle. There's not really too much to think about, to be honest. In terms of the breakdown, these are the kind of the opportunities you're looking at, because to be honest, what's the worst of a penalty? Yeah, there might be a yellow card now, but before it's kind of like the breakdown is a perfect opportunity for someone to get a steal. But yeah, Exeter have done really well in keeping the ball. I think, yeah, three odd sets in attack now, so it's going to be tough for Sale.
And it's a scrappy line out,
yes,
and surely it's come back on the south side, and it has, and Rafi Quirk runs it into touch, and that's the end of the game. A massive win for Sale. There's some complaints from the Exeter men. Sam Simmons complaining to the touch judge, but it is a Sale win. Sale have won this one by 25 points to 20. What a game that was.
I would not be surprised if he goes to the TMO.
Carl Dixon just explaining to Sam Simmons what's happened there. Unfortunately, Chris is down pitch side ready to speak to a player, so he hasn't got the ref mic into.
I don't know what he's complaining about there. Catch the ball.
And Exeter can't find that final try that they were looking for. Not clean at the line out. Kearney Oosthuizen getting his big hands on it. And Rafi Quirk running that one into touch. But what a game. What a match of Gallagher Premiership rugby. Ben, your reflections on that?
Very tense, because it's not a classic Friday night Sale performance without a bit of tension at the end. We don't make it easy for ourselves. It would be boring for you guys if it was that easy. But yeah, great to stick it out at the end. Obviously, it's not ideal, but the game's never going to be ideal when you're playing against one of the best teams in the world. So kind of like it's great to see lads make mistakes and then back it up with a positive outcome next phase. That's kind of what this win's been built on, really.
And after 2 defeats in a row, 2 performances that weren't great, to get over the line tonight against such an excellent Exeter side, especially at the end there when they were putting a lot of pressure on, that should give the boys a lot of confidence.
Yeah, definitely. It's not ideal losing 2 in a row, so you definitely want to win the game. So I think there's a lot of positives to be taken from this in terms of how we've reacted to different scenarios, different situations. Exeter have come up here, they've tested us a lot, and I think we've reacted really well tonight.
Lou Diaga down chatting to BT Sport on his first start since coming back from a shoulder injury. And Ben, just a word on Lou. I thought he was absolutely exceptional tonight.
Yeah, his work rate's outstanding. It's not just the stats he's probably built up, it's the intent into those stats. It's not just making 20 tackles, it's the quality of each of those tackles, the quality of each of his carries. And I think what probably isn't appreciated as much as his line-out is his skills around the park, so his ability to get others through the gain line, whether it's latching or through his handling. So he's a great asset to Sale.
And we saw at the end there the substitutes making such a massive difference. And a word again for Rafi Quirk, who I thought was excellent when he came off the bench last week. He was excellent again this week, and he really controlled the game up until that last sort of 2 or 3 minutes where everything went a bit crazy, and Exeter almost scored a try right at the end there as Sale clapped the Exeter.
Yeah, especially as a young 9, it's probably quite hard to boss those around you, but I think he did that really well tonight. And to be fair, I think the lads around him really supported him, everyone listened to him, and I think we executed aside from that last the last 4 minutes, we executed that kind of last quarter game plan quite well.
And what confidence can the lads take from tonight heading into the games coming up?
That we can make 100 mistakes and still win against one of the best teams in the world. I think, if you make that many mistakes, and can still manage to win, I think you've got a pretty good team then. Obviously, as Sale fans, it is obviously frustrating, but what we need to realise and see is kind of the work after those mistakes. That lads are putting in a lot of effort to kind of rectify those, and I think that's what kind of was accumulation tonight of mistakes happening, but then the effort afterwards was twice as much, had twice the impact of that mistake.
And Ben, just before we let you go, how's your injury? When can we expect to see you back?
This is my 5 weeks on Monday. I think the original plan is the Lyon game, but like I said, anything could happen. Some days it's a lot better than others, so the plan is the Lyon game, but we'll see.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Ben. I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed the commentary, and see you again soon.
Cheers, thank you very much.
So a win for Sale tonight by 25 points to 20. And Colin, if you can hear me, what a game that was. Just wow, the ending there was unbelievable. I thought at one stage Exeter were going to score, but great defence from Sale and a win on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to keep my eye on the stats as it was all going on, and it was just the whole stats, the statistics changed in that 10-15 minutes. It was just absolutely mad. Sale Sharks won over 100 rucks there, 102 on the ruck count for Sale Sharks there. Impressive, very strong. It's very interesting to see as well that Sale Sharks were playing close to the breakdowns, or close to that pack 10 metres out either side, go again, 10 metres outside, trying to sock that Exeter defence in so that they could go out wide as well. Very interesting. The action areas as well, looking at the statistics, Sale Sharks were playing nearly over a third of the game in the Exeter half there, and the possession, although it was around about 48% Sale, 52% Exeter, a lot of the statistics, a lot of the possession, was in that 22 area, that strike area. In fact, looking at it as well, I think Sale could have scored a lot more tries there as well today as well. So, and I think it comes down to that penalty count as well. When you're making those mistakes in that strike area, you're wasting opportunities to score and make points, aren't you? And I think that's really actually a promising thing to see, that get that discipline right, more points come on the board.
Chris is down pitch side and he'll be joined by a player relatively soon. Hopefully hear some reaction from John O'Ross or Alex Anderson. And Colin, you said last week you took some stick for saying you wanted to see the development. You weren't as bothered about the results. I think tonight we saw both of that. We saw the result and the development to come back from that Sam Simmons try. Sale were on the front foot for much of that second half, but they couldn't get over the line until that Langdon try at the end. And then at the very end there, Exeter were pushing towards the Sale line. So I'm sure the Sale fans out there will be delighted with the character, with the performance, and then ultimately the result.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that last 5 minutes, I was pretty bothered about the score. To be fair, that was quite important. But I tell you, just taking a quick look at Lou Diega and what we were saying about those offloads. 7 passes from Lou Diega. How many offloads did that guy make today? And 35 metres carry. He made that difference there, and I'm not surprised that he isn't getting a really good pat on the back today from his teammates. And that go forward ball, as we said, is so key. To keep Exeter going, defending when you're going backwards is very difficult to do, and that attack is really key. Chris, are you down pitch side? Can you still hear us, Chris?
Yes, I'm still pitch side here, just waiting to hear from hopefully Alex Sanderson, the Sale Sharks Director of Rugby, in a few minutes' time, and get his take on an incredible evening's rugby. A fantastic victory for Sale, as we've been saying, but as Ben Curry mentions, I'm sure Alex Sanderson, when he picks over the bones of that one, won't be thinking that was the most immaculate performance he could ever have expected. But above all, Sale have won the game.
So listen, we still want to hear from you. If you are at home, and tell us how you enjoyed the game. Just because the broadcast finishes and the game's over, it doesn't mean the chat doesn't. So listen, get on social media for us. And what we really want you to do as well is share this, because it will be available to watch and listen through again, and tell all your friends. And what we'd like to do, especially for next week's game against Newcastle, is invite the Newcastle fans to join us as well. So we're really keen to see who's going to shout the loudest on social media. So listen, just because it's finished, it's not over yet. We want to hear from you, especially if you've got any questions for Alex Sanderson and any one of the players. I know Sam will be trying to get some players over for us as well to talk to Chris. Chris, tell us, I mean, let's look at that last 10-15 minutes of that game. I mean, I was on the edge of here. The cat was wondering what I was shouting at. It was absolutely incredible, was it not?
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish to the game, isn't it? And I think throughout lockdown, people have looked for hope, haven't they? And something, reason to believe, and an incentive to keep on doing what they're doing. And I think the Premiership this season has absolutely delivered. And this is yet another great game where people, either watching at home or hopefully listening to us on Sharks Live, have been able to be entertained by a match that's absolutely gone to the wire. Could have gone either way right to the dying seconds. And Sale, clearly disrupting that line out at the end, have done enough to win the fixture. But this is a great moment for Sale and Alex Sanderson, Colin, because so early in his tenure to now say, well, we've been to Bristol and we've won and we've beaten Exeter at home and it's got tight at the end, but we've still seen the job through, is really powerful messaging for the dressing room to know that they can be competitive come the end of the season. And I think every Sale fan watching Sharks Live and listening to us tonight will hopefully now start to really believe that this can be a season when Sale can make it into the top four for the first time in a very, very long time and really be competitive in this Premiership. But what we have seen in recent weeks is London Irish holding Bristol to a draw, Northampton beating Exeter last week. There is no easy game in this league anymore, and it's going to be still just as challenging for Sale as they come up against Newcastle next week, London Irish a couple of weeks after that. There's no easy matches here, and I'm sure Alex Sanderson will feel there's still plenty of room for improvement from this side.
Ollie, if you're still up there, let's just take a look at that last part of the game and look at the way that Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Actually, take a look at the missed opportunities, all those missed AJ tries. There was opportunities there where we could have scored a lot more, and it makes you think actually that there is a far more to come from this attacking side now.
Yeah, I think absolutely right. AJ McGinty on his 31st birthday tonight. Well, I'm sure he celebrated his birthday with the victory and with the fact that his team are going to be cherishing the points in the dressing room. But 2 disallowed tries that won't have happened to him too often in his career. But as you say, Colin, if those tries had been awarded, then Sale may have had a little bit more wriggle room come the end of the game. But they did have the better of the territory in possession, as you were able to confirm for us from the stats throughout the evening tonight. And it was a very solid performance overall. Yes, not perfect, as Ben Curry was rightly pointing out, but Lou Diaga on his first start since returning from injury, what an impact he made. Man of the match performance, say a number of the Sale fans who've been interacting with us tonight on the social channels, and I would fully agree, dynamic in the loose, powerful presence at the line out. It's what a world-class player who's won the World Cup can bring to the side. So terrific to see him playing so well, and really encouraging that, as you say, the attacking threat from Sale, which as we were discussing with Ollie pre-match, hadn't always been strong in recent weeks, started to come through tonight. And 3 tries, McGuigan, Rod and Langdon, really showing that Sale are finding their feet again going forward and starting to click a little bit more into gear. Perhaps not there yet, but certainly on the right path.
Ollie, we were talking a lot about the Bristol game and the way that Sale played a very structured game to prevent Bristol being able to have some free-flowing rugby and taking advantage of any holes in defence. But today Sale were offloading like mad, and there was a great opportunity to keep that ball alive and off the ground. Do you think that's something that we should take more advantage of going forward?
Well, I think in a game like this, Colin, with Exeter down to 14 men, Jack Yendall going off, Sale were behind for a lot of that second half, so you do need to play the expansive rugby, you do need to try the offloads, and Sale have got the players that can do that. Dan Dupree does that so well, John O'Ross does it well as well, and Bevan Rodd, of course, in the front row, who went over for a try tonight. So Sale do have those players at their disposal, and that's certainly something they can take forward into the games coming up. And just whilst you're with me, Colin, I've got a bit of an update on the table. Sale now 3rd on 32 points, have gone above Harlequins tonight. Exeter stay 2nd on 35 points and Bristol top with 37. So Sale up into the top 4 with that win tonight, and plenty to look forward to for the rest of the season for the Sale fans. If you didn't hear earlier during half-time about our competition, we're running a competition to win a Sale Sharks women's signed shirt across the 2 days, including tomorrow's match against Harlequins. So the question tonight, who were the opponents the last time fans were allowed in for a Sale game at the AJ Bell Stadium? Who were the last last opponents when fans were allowed in at the AJ Bell Stadium? So get your answers in for that, and make sure you tune in for the women's game tomorrow afternoon at the Corpac Stadium, for a chance to win that Sale Sharks women's shirt.
Thanks, Ollie. Listen, and if you're at home right now, don't forget to get in touch with us on social media and all the chat. Sharks, #Sharks Live. or join us at Sale Sharks on the Twitter accounts, YouTube and Facebook. Keep in touch with us. Tell us what you've been doing today watching the game, and particularly we want to know where you'll be tomorrow when the women kick off at Hayward Road. We're very keen to have you join us then, even though there's some other rugby on. We're not quite interested in that, are we? But listen, get yourselves 2 screens and tune into the women's game tomorrow. We're going to be really keen to hear how you're enjoying the game. Also, we want you to join us next week when we play Falcons, and this is our Northern Derby, isn't it? So this is our Northern Derby. So we really want to hear from you joining us next week. So before I rub it on too much, I think we're going to go to Chris. Chris, are you there?
I am indeed, and I've got Sale coach Mike Forshaw with me pitch side. Mike, what an epic match that was. What was your take on that hectic 80 minutes?
Well, I didn't enjoy the last minute, I can assure you that. But I thought we dug deep all evening, really. And at the end of the game, I thought we showed some real grit to defend Exeter in our 22. And I thought it would have played till 11 o'clock tonight, they wouldn't have scored. I think the boys really had the energy there at the end.
You were that confident, were you, Mike? Because it felt like there was some nerves around as Exeter pressed and pressed.
Yeah, I think with Exeter, especially when the Chiefs and they set up camp in your 22, they usually come away with points. And 25-20 and the 5 metres out with the clock up, it was a real nervy time. But look, when I watched the game back, I suppose that was the game for us, though. Really, I thought when we needed to, we really fronted in that area.
What was your overall assessment of the quality of the performance?
Bit frustrated first half with a couple of penalties that Lerham set up camp, and we got it quite wrong off the line out with the first phase, and then they got the driving try through the line out, and that came from a penalty. So things that we can control, but overall delighted, really. I thought we showed some real character.
What was your view of Jack Yendall sending off?
Well, you never like seeing anybody get sent off, and the way the game is now, if you technically quite wrong in them contact areas, they're going to these red cards now. So it's very important that we really practice them fundamentals of our technique, not only in the tackle but in clearing out the breakdowns as well.
Overall, did you feel that the attack tonight started to offer more threat perhaps than you'd seen in recent weeks?
Yeah, I did, and I think we're very unfortunate not to have the 2 tries chalked off. And we're getting there with our attack. We've been building on it. Combinations are a little bit different. We've got some pretty big ammunition still sat there waiting to play yet. So we're going in the right direction. I'm sure Paul Deacon will be pretty happy with tonight's performance.
AJ McGinty, on his 31st birthday tonight, Mike, must have thought on 2 occasions he was going to have a try to celebrate. You mentioned there that you were a bit disappointed to see those tries chalked off. Do you think they could have been fundamental to the result on another occasion?
Yeah, possibly, yes. I think going back to AJ, 31, and he's had a birthday knock, hasn't he? Because I thought he threatened all night. In the big games, he always seems to stand up, not only with his ball playing ability and his game management, but defensively he put some pretty big tackles in against a physical team. So, I'm sure AJ will enjoy his birthday, albeit he's in lockdown. But the performance was all about the W tonight for us. We needed to win. 2 disappointing results, not been at our best, and tonight, we can have a smile on our face in the morning, I think.
You mentioned the 2 recent disappointing results, Mike, but the team tonight, 13 of the 15 who started against Bristol away started tonight, plus Lude, plus Dan Dupria. Do you think that was very much your first team, if you like, tonight that you're starting to focus on now?
Well, I think any team with Lude Jaeger in it is going to give you a lift. It's great to see Lude back. He's had a frustrating couple of years since the World Cup. Dan Dupria gets better every game. He's an incredible player. But we've got that. We had a great pack out tonight. But we've still got players who can come in. We obviously got Ben Curry getting back to fitness. Tom's away with England, obviously. JL who's injured at the moment. So we've got some good options though. It's we've got a real good forward pack squad. It's not about the individual. I think we've got players who complement each other, and going forward we'll utilise them combinations as we see fit to use them.
And just staying with the forwards, great to see 2 young players getting on the score sheet tonight. Bevan Rodd with his first try for the club, and Curtis Langdon, who getting a taste for scoring tries now, Mike.
Yeah, Bevan, for a young loose head, he's come on this summer. Like Bevan he's got a great future ahead of him, and I thought Curtis probably had his best game in a Sale shirt tonight. I thought he was really good, both sides of the ball. Some of his decision making was a lot better than it has been, and he's been working on some of them decision making. To break off the drive and score the try there was the right decision. So a great knock for Curtis tonight.
And now that the team have registered a victory away at Bristol and one at home to Exeter against arguably the league's strongest side, and obviously tonight against the double winners, does that send a new level of belief through the camp about what is possible this season and beyond?
Yeah, I think we've got the belief. It's just about the performance. I think, you know, we get it right. When we get it right, we can beat anybody on the day. I think, you know, we've got to back this up now with the home game next Friday, which is a massive game for us against a very, very tough Newcastle outfit. So, you know, we'll enjoy this win tonight. We'll review it tomorrow, look at things we could improve, look at things we did really well, and then we'll build into the week. And you know, hopefully, I'll be doing this interview with a smile on the face next Friday. But a lot of work to be done yet, but we'll enjoy tonight.
Make sure you do. Mike Forshaw, thanks so much for joining us on Sharks Live, and we'll see you next Friday for Newcastle.
Cheers, thank you.
Mike Forshaw there, the Sale Sharks coach, understandably delighted with victory here tonight against Exeter, and already turning thoughts towards the video analysis that will no doubt shape the preparations before Newcastle Falcons are here next Friday night.
Thanks, Chris. So listen, don't forget to get your quote, get your names and get your information in. Tell us how you've been doing, and I'm going to finish tonight. Don't forget, Ashley, to join us tomorrow, of course. And I'm going to finish tonight with what I think is the best quote on social media from Alexander, who says, "This team makes me drink." Thanks for joining us on Sale Sharks Live.